in your address bar and refresh.
Hello. Can't hear you. I think you're muted.
There we go. That's better.
Okay. I don't know if we have the folks in the clubhouse yet.
Oh, okay. I'm just joining by Zoom because I've been really sick and I don't want anybody exposed to my germs.
That's very thoughtful of you. I am also at home.
Maybe.
I'm going up there. Hello.
Right.
Exercise.
Hello. I'm gonna keep leaving this everywhere.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Entering. Okay, I guess I should. Our host, what's the social community co-host? Or should I said you're our social committee co-chair.
Okay, just give me 1 second and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm just waiting for Kristen Adams to walk in.
The meeting is on now.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Today is Wednesday, June 17th, 2026, and the meeting is started at 6:33 p.m. So that is there's Kristen. Hi.
I just walked in at the same time.
I believe we have established a quorum because David's online.
Yes.
And Kristen
Kristen's
Stevenson
online.
could be online and maybe Brocky. Okay. So everyone.
I'm here.
Perfect. Turn the speaker down.
Oh, it's here.
I don't know how that works. I can't attest to that. Okay. Yes. Proof of notice. I have no idea what that is.
That's-
Help me.
that was sent out in
There was
time.
supposed to be an email.
Okay,
Consider approved.
We're good.
all right. Yes, the proof of notice was sent out. We approved we did that, okay. Good and welfare, so
Thank you.
anyone want to speak? We've got, open up the floor for 3 minutes to residents to discuss good and welfare. All two of
I'll
you.
go first.
All right, Jim, go for it.
Okay, I recently received an email from Brittany and it stated, quote, I feel it is necessary to address and correct a significant misrepresentation that continues to be repeated. Jim, you have repeatedly stated that the board never voted on this company, was not presented with information in advance, and did not review multiple bids. That statement is simply inaccurate. I have been accused of misrepresenting the facts by Brittany and several other members of the board, past and present. I've also been accused of attempting to delay or impede progress on the Padilla court. The time has come to set the record straight. Here are the facts. First fact, number one, at the board meeting that was held over a year ago on May 21st, 2025, 2 motions were approved. The first motion approved $195 for the basketball and Padilla courts. The second motion approved an additional $50K for 2 pickleball courts. The contract signed by Tim Carey on August 19, 2025, in the amount of $244,930 was for the Padilla and basketball courts only, and the contract exceeded the board-approved maximum amount of $195. The additional spending of $49,930 was never approved by the board. Therefore, the board has violated the motion to not exceed $195K. In addition, the board never voted to approve the contract before it was signed. At the last board meeting, I asked if anybody had reviewed the contract before it was signed. I was told, and this is a quote from the meeting, quote, we didn't have to because whatever we agreed to as a board, Tim has those explicit instructions to not exceed. So if he was within the guidelines of what the board already agreed to, why would we want to have to review it? My answer is quite simple. All board members should have reviewed the terms and conditions of the contract before BB&T was committed to spend $250,000 on the Padilla and basketball courts. By the way, I see that on the agenda, there's a vote to approve the additional spending, although it's 10 months after the contract was signed. With respect to pickleball, there is no approved contract with any company for the 2 pickleball courts. If and when the board decides to add the 2 pickleball courts, additional funding of approximately $79,000 to $108,000 will be required, which is based upon the 3 estimate in Tim's spreadsheet. Second key item, BB&T requires that 3 quotes be received for any projects exceeding $5K. If you look at Tim's Excel spreadsheet, 3 contractors are listed: FDC, Armor Courts, and Sports Services. Quotes were only received from Armor Courts and Sports Services. Sports Surfaces. The note column in the spreadsheet clearly states that there was no quote from FDC. It was only a ballpark estimate with no details.
Jim, your
Therefore,
time
3 minutes is up, I'm sorry.
is 3 minutes is up.
can you give me another minute or two?
No, I'm sorry, we have to be
Okay.
fair for everyone, otherwise the meeting goes too long. Thank you for the information.
So I'll address this briefly as if we haven't addressed it 17 times already over email and in every board meeting for the past 12 months. But I understand your position regarding the transcription error by Jason at Hawkeye on the May 2025 board meeting. We will conduct a ratification vote. We appreciate the feedback and diligence. However, we will be talking about the role of the Finance Committee later. I assume that you are bringing these comments forth as a member of the Finance Committee or as an individual resident, and we welcome the comments, but all of the activity around Padilla and the whether it's intentional or not, the acting like this is about process rather than trying to squash this as an initiative, it's just falling on deaf ears, to say the least. you know, there's one way to go about this, which is a constructive way, which Jim, you often do, and I appreciate. I will mention that we saw that Jim Trunzo, based on one of your emails, filed Freedom of Information Act requests for Boca permitting. The only reason to do that, rather than to just ask Tim Carey, show up at a board meeting, ask the board, is to play gotcha politics. And we've done this over and over again, and it's just utterly exhausting. Nobody wants to deal with it. Of course, we will make sure that the proper approvals are in place, but Padel's going forward. We will make sure we have the proper contractor to do it. You have raised some good points about this vendor. Frankly, we're not thrilled with the vendor either. We are trying to take the best path forward to complete permitting without conducting a change of contractor, and we will proceed according from there. Any other comments on good and well?
Anyone else for good and welfare?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have one more comment. And Jim, you're welcome to respond to this. Where does the 3 bid requirement come from? I know we've discussed this in the past and I thought it was there. But by Florida statute, it's only 2 bids that are required. And that's if it exceeds 10% of your operating budget. And I've scanned the bylaws and the governing documents and I don't see the 3 bid requirement. So is this a historical practice or is this something that you were citing in the bylaws somewhere?
This is a motion that was passed several years ago because there have been some discussions about, gee, what should it be? What's the trigger level? And the discussion that took place that, gee, do we have to go and get 3 bids for something that's a couple $100 or $1,000? So the board at the time decided that 5K was a appropriate clipping level. Clearly, when we're talking about the kind of money we're talking about here, the more bids, the better. Okay. So it is a requirement. Now, I know you're new to Boca Bath and Tennis. You've been here about a year, but if you had been around, you would have seen that we've been using this methodology for quite a while.
Yes, I understand that getting multiple competitive bids and utilizing competitive pressure appropriately, which I've done a number of times since I've been on the board, is appropriate, which we did here. We had 3 bids, but someone referred to it as being a statutory requirement in an email and talked about it being posted, and that's not true. So
yeah, you didn't. By the way, you
anyway.
didn't get 3 bids. Okay, according to Tim's spreadsheet,
you've had your 3 minutes. We've discussed this. This was presented in a board meeting. I sent an email, by the way. You're right, we didn't get 3 bids. We got more than 3 bids. And I had called dozens of providers about Padel and investigated different options. They were not all like for like bids, and I understand you have your quibble with that, but it's just not accurate to say we didn't have 3 bids. We had probably 7.
Yeah. Thanks, David. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jim, for your comments. Okay, anyone else for good and welfare? George?
I don't know if this falls under good and welfare, but I was speaking to Lee next door. Remember the last time I mentioned we have a dead tree up in the swall?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I followed up on that because we have hurricane season coming in.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about that in just a minute.
Okay.
I've got tree trimming in my president's report, so
Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Let me just remind me then, and then after the meeting, remind me specifically for that tree.
Sure.
I've got greenscapes going around and they're gonna notate, there's a couple dead trees that need to be removed. So they're gonna notate. Yours, I think, is actually one that we have on the list. So, but I'll confirm that with you. So yeah, just give me a minute. We'll get to tree trimming, but perfect. Thanks. Anyone else?
No hands raised.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thanks. Moving on, approval of minutes. We all received the minutes in advance, so.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Perfect.
Amanda's. I
Um,
like that option.
okay, so we'll go around and,
All in favor?
yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Perfect.
Aye.
All right, minutes are approved. I'm gonna pass the mic to Mark, who's gonna do the financial report.
All right, I sent out a this afternoon a typed financial report, and then I'll just cover it real quick. I want to make this as brief as possible. I am going to try and follow this format for the future for every meeting.
Mhm.
But the good news is we finally have control of all of our funds, thanks to monthly value. and beating up
Yes.
Hawkeye. So
I cannot.
at this moment, we have 1,233,502 in our accounts. The Western Alliance Bank account, we're going to talk about this later in the report, but that is paying 2.53 right now thanks to our handbook relationship with the Western Alliance. In addition, we have the deposits for support service and all county paving for another 139,000. I want to recognize those just because that's money we've spent and it's on deposit. We did not earn much on the account. If you look at the bank statements, it was available. The financial package was sent out, shared with the finance committee and the board. The reason being the deposits of 803,000 from Hawkeye and from Door Financial 270 all went in on May 29th. So it was only there for 2 days. I think we already earned like $104. I'm also putting the balances of the 2 loan payments. So you'll see those. The rates, as everybody knows, are 4.11 and 3.88. Talking about the audit, the draft was completed for the audit and it's being reviewed for signatures. There's one pending question about a missing Bank of America check for $5,899 from November of 2024 that Hawkeye, the boss of their court, to respond to. Investment strategies from the finance committee. So the committee's been studying this for a while now. We've contacted multiple institutions, both brokerage houses and banks. Everything from AI to Melissa Geiger Campbell recommending other HOAs and what their interaction with investment houses are. They have recommended highly Merrill Lynch. When I did AI search, One Florida Bank and Cogent Bank came up number 1 and number 2. One Florida Bank is in the process of a merger, so I kind of eliminated them. Don't want to deal with a bank that's going for a merger. Cogent Bank offers the highest rate with no fees, and they're very experienced. This came from AI. Had a long conversation with them. And they use Advanico, which is the same as what Campbell uses. Merrill Lynch offers the most experienced, proven performance and competitive yields. However, as people on the board have seen the communications, they charge a 1/4 point fee for managed funds, not CDs, not money market, but for managed funds. So that would cost us money. So at this point, the board, my goal was to have the board vote on which direction you'd like the finance committee to go as far as which institution you'd like to invest with. To give you the vote, we had 2 people in favor of Merrill Lynch. 2 people didn't respond, and then 1 person, myself, I'm actually voting for Cogent Bank.
This is from the finance committee, just to clarify, not from the board.
So I also shared another report that showed the large expenditures and where the accounting will come from. The finance committee will be charged with sitting with whichever institution you choose and staggering the investments so that in a timely manner we have the funds available at the appropriate times to pay the bills. Things like Padel Court, things like basketball, things like the balance on the clubhouse parking lot for your David.
Yeah,
So I'm going to stop and pause there and have the board discuss the
Making the choice.
Yeah, I've been on a lot of these emails, and I know Merrill Lynch comes with a money manager. I am not necessarily in favor of that, only because I know that the cost is 0.25% now, and they said there's no cost down the road. But I mean, with my own money manager, there's hidden fees at all points. So I would personally, I am in alliance with or agreement with Mark, Cogent Bank. I think I read through their his very descriptive details about them, and I thank you for doing this due diligence, because this is a lot of work to go through all this. I agree with the Cogent Bank with no fees, and I think something I mentioned to Mark is, as long as we're not tying up our reserves for extended periods of time, even if it's a high yield CD, I'd rather not, it's not worth the 0.5% or 1/4% for me to not be able to access those in a timely manner if we need it, if there is an emergency, which is what reserves are for. Unfortunately, with emergencies, we don't know when we're going to have one or need that. So that is my only caveat, is that the funds are not tied up for extended periods of time. But personally, going back and forth with everyone, all the emails I've read, I agree, Cogent Bank is our best option. So anyone else? David?
Did we look into Schwab? Because I remember there was a discussion about that, and the Snacks high yield fund is a money market that seemed to be higher yield than that spreadsheet. And
So I
offers.
had another conversation with Melissa actually today. Jim Grunza had been working with Melissa on Schwab. And what the feedback we got, or feedback first I heard, was that the rep that works with HOAs, he's non-responsive. First, the gentleman that is the lead rep was out on paternity leave.
Yeah.
He's back now. Melissa left messages for him and he never called back. His the coverage that he had was even worse. So she does not endorse Schwab.
I guess
Just because.
I guess
and
my
that's
question.
the HOA person that specializes in HOAs. So there's not every broker handles HOA type accounts.
My general preference, like I guess I don't really mind Cogent. My general preference is to go with money market funds for liquidity. Same reason Brittany suggested. And I just feel like maybe I'm missing something here, that there's some coordination between software and Campbell that we need, but it seems relatively set and forget. Like I don't really care who the rep is or their reputation. I care more about the company, and it's just money is deposited, money is put in this one fund and then never touch. And Campbell could have access to it to transfer chunks back if we need it, but that was my read on it, and perhaps I have an incomplete.
Yeah, the goal is we can generate. Well, let me give you a little historical information. In the past, we used to buy staggered CDs that would mature, let's say, every other month, and we'd have different ranges. Because of the FDIC insurance maxing out at 250, we would buy like $200,000 CDs and have them stagger every 2 or 3 months and mature. The problem is you're opening bank accounts each time. Next minute, we ended up with like 15 or 20 bank accounts. And as we move money around, plus it required the board then, or someone, the treasurer, to shop CDs every time they matured. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to shop CDs or build ladders or do anything like that. I just want to dump it in a money market fund that will track the real-time risk-free rate.
And that's, so you would do a mix of like the ICS account. You can use money markets for immediate liquidity, and then you could do some short-term CDs for 100,000, 200,000. We do have funds that we're not going to be using anytime soon. The most glaring is the road reserve. It's always been around 500,000, and it's been parked there for years. So that would be some of the money. But again, the finance committee would then break it into individual investments, just trying to get maximum investment. I mean, we're getting 2.53, which is more than we've done in the last 12 months, but we could do better.
And one last question is there any opposition to going with Merrill, but just telling him to put all the money in a money market? Because I feel like if we get into a high net worth type fund that is maybe gated at $1 million, we'll save 20 basis points or something like Schwab's does. We'll have the Merrill Lynch name and size and scale, and we just don't need, like, if we decide to do CDs later, we have the option of using Bobby, but you know, we have the relationship with Campbell and we can access probably the same.
And to your point, David, there's no reason you couldn't actually do 2 institutions if you want to split it up. Nothing's cast in stone. We could sit in 6 months or 12 months, reanalyze this through the finance committee and say, you know what, it did change. The fees changed, or management changed, or we're not getting the yield. They're not doing the investments the way we asked. So again, all of this could be modified later, and we can deal with more than one institution at the board's choosing.
Maybe splitting it wouldn't be a bad idea, and then see how that goes. We can always drop one and put the rest of the eggs back into the other basket.
I think that
We also-
there will be access to certain like funds that we can get that save you management fees, that if you
Right.
split it, you'll have less of an opportunity for. At least that's the case with Schwab, and I'm sure it is with Merrill. And
It
I
is.
think like we're trying to avoid balkanizing these accounts again and having a future board have to deal with it. So I'd just as soon
Yeah.
dump it into one and, you know, deal with a 5 or 10 basis point performance difference. It's not.
Not that big of a difference.
I think that having read a lot of the emails that have been going back and forth, I think my confidence is in actually Mark's opinion and Mark's insight.
Finance committee, not me.
You're here.
It's actually 2 to 1 in favor of Merrill. It needs to be measured that way.
But I 2.25 points it's not a joke with regards to this kind of money. Putting it into multiple accounts and see which one does better. I mean, we could always put it into one account and then move things to another account if it's not doing what we expected it to.
Right.
So having that liquidity, I think, is very important, and I am in agreement, and it's not necessarily just for emergencies. But I think now we have better oversight of the accounts
Yes.
and better direction than it looks like we've had in a long time. And trying to second guess what I've seen is, I agree. I think we should go for Cogent Bank myself. Even though it's a smaller bank, I've always had better responses from smaller banks with my money. They seem to pay more attention to me. They seem to be a little bit more interested in smaller dollar amounts as opposed to big mega accounts. And we're not a small account, but we're not a big mega account either.
Yeah,
So
most
that
definitely.
personalized feel, I think, could be very helpful and very helpful.
So would that be a split then with them?
Can we do the money markets with Cogent Bank?
You have all the same options. Everything that Merrill, Cogent offers, like Seacoast Bank didn't measure up. They didn't have all the same capability as our boutique shop. One Florida Bank offered probably the most, even more than anybody else. But again, they're going through a merger. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with one of the bigger banks as well. I just don't want to use a money manager. I just think that it's just unnecessary. We don't need that for what we're doing. And again, I just don't want to get us back into that 15 different CDs, all of that mess of having to keep up with that. I think having it all in one spot, very easy to access. Campbell can access it if they need, the board can access it if they need. That's really what I'm looking for. So whether it's Merrill or Schwab or Cogent, I'm kind of supportive of any of them. I just want to make sure the funds are easily accessible, and I don't think we need to be paying a manager fee. So
how about
that's my plan.
David?
Kristen?
Honestly, don't care that much.
Yes.
So,
I'm in agreement. No, we absolutely do not need anyone to manage. Yeah, we don't need a money manager. I agree with you guys. I've also read and thought through the email chains as they've come through. But yeah, my vote would actually be for the smaller bank as well.
My vote, I liked Kristen's idea about splitting it. I mean, we personally do that. There are certain things that we find that we like with one financial advisor versus another one. And it's easier to see the difference in the rates and the customer service when you do have two. So I do like that idea, but I am open to whatever the majority is, of course.
I don't suggest finance to be my specialty, but I do think that we've got a lot of people with good heads on our shoulders. And to David's point, a money manager is fine. We just direct them to put all money put it all in money markets and no fees charged. So that would be
there's no manager
a healthy trade-off, right? So
yeah, I would say my suggestion is going to be let's either run with Merrill or Cogent, and let's nix the money manager part of the Merrill aspect of it, and we can either split it or put it all in one. I think maybe given the feedback of the board.
Let me share. You have to have 500,000 minimum to do this process.
Right, understood.
Okay, so if we split it, there will be times we don't have $1 million in the bank for reserves. So you need to settle on one rather than split.
So pick one.
Oh, if you do money markets, we can actually actually have a lesser amount. That's true.
Right.
I'm thinking about managed account.
Well, I think maybe I like Rocky's idea of seeing which way, splitting it and seeing which one you like better, and then maybe moving everything over to one. That way we give them 4 to 6 months, and if we find one is superior, then we just say thanks. We're moving everything over.
I think the performance difference is going to be negligible or non-existent. I think it's just who we like dealing with better. So
hello, this is Jim Trunzo.
Customer service.
Can you hold on until the board is done? Are you good?
There's not a motion on the table, so we can't have an open discussion yet.
One second, Jim.
Yeah.
Just give us 1 second. We're just still discussing. So it sounds like, since we're all so split almost, it almost sounds like we're all kind of all over the place. Maybe we'll let the finance committee discuss between splitting into both banks and then seeing what you guys like the best, and then switching, saying we'll give it 4 to 6 months and
Let's say 6 months.
6 months and then move it all to one. I would like it all in one bank at the end of the day. I do think that
I think we should put
I
it
think-
all in one bank. I think it's like not that much money, and
yeah,
it's
I really,
kind of crazy to open up more accounts after all we went through to close.
I think you're gonna be going crazy trying to manage 2 banks. You know, I mean, I don't know, I just think
It's actually gonna be Melissa more than me.
I prefer it all be in one bank at the end of the
Logically,
day.
after discussion, logically, I do have to lean on the singular bank as well. If, like Mark said, it's because then once we split everything,
Yeah, just it comes down, do we want the big bank Merrill or do we want the small bank Cogent? And
I have to, I mean,
Are we splitting hairs?
after everything we've already gone through, I mean, my confidence level would be more with Merrill, just
And I think we
historically.
have a scale advantage with Merrill, that they have so many accounts and so much money with Campbell that the relationship will get more out of. I mean, Cogent's a fine option too, but I just default towards the scale and where we'll get more.
Honestly, the scalability with
Both.
Campbell makes very.
Melissa said, and I personally experienced that, I think Jim Brown has too. When you call Bobby Watson, if he doesn't immediately answer the phone, he's back to you within 5-10 minutes.
But if we go with Merrill, are we stuck with him and his management fee?
You don't have to use his management at all.
Right.
So if you're saying I want money market and one
Yeah,
like an ICS account, he's not investing your money.
okay,
You only pay for managed funds when he started picking choose.
understood. Okay,
Banks and-
yeah,
That's what David was suggesting, just put all in money markets and.
I
that's-
prefer
We direct.
So,
not the
so
management.
what you're deciding at the board level is an institution, not the investments. That's what the finance committee is gonna help do that.
Understood.
Stage and try and manage the money.
I just don't want to, if we go with Merrill, I don't want it to slip into the management fee based. That's, yeah, like that's definitely not what I'm looking for our personal funds. And and again, liquidity is of the utmost importance. I can't say that enough. The last thing we want is to be able to need funds and not be, and then be like, great, you've got 6 months until you can
Well, I
access.
We'll always have the money.
That is of the utmost.
Melissa and I are on top of that piece, so.
It sounds like we are gonna suggest going with Merrill without the management fee. Aiming towards money markets, and
Right, so let's make a motion.
I'll let you make the motion because I'm gonna
It's gotten
definitely.
Well, rather than suggest it, but let's make a formal motion. So
Fantastic.
So the board is making a motion to accept Merrill Lynch for our investment institution with funds to be invested without a management fee.
I would say, if we could, do we want to add in there that we are directing into
No,
money
finance committee will
markets?
do that.
Okay.
Are you gonna
Sure, so
open it
we're
up
just
to
making
the
these-
audience yet?
I also wanna make sure that we,
Just a second.
that it somehow in the motion, it includes the liquidity of that they're not tied up
That's
in,
assumed. No.
that's assumed, okay?
Are you gonna
Right.
open it up to the,
Yeah,
For the,
after we vote, just stand by.
Need a second.
Yes, thank you so much. This was a discussion.
We just need a second,
Yes. So we have to iron that
You
out.
get the motion,
first, second.
okay,
I know that.
great, okay, now we'll open up for discussion.
I have my hand up.
Yep, you're on.
Just go on.
Okay. I have accounts with both Merrill and Schwab and also IBM, but I've been with Merrill and Bank of America quite a few years. And last year, you heard our previous treasurer indicate that he wanted to really deal with Bank of America. So, from a standpoint of security, Bank of America and Merrill, in my mind, is the way to go. Plus, I put out a long email in terms of the bio with Bobby Watson, and really what sold me with going with Bank of America and Merrill is due to Melissa. Okay, she's been doing an outstanding job on our finances, and frankly, since they are really using Merrill and Bobby on basically managing 50 HOAs. Frankly, there is a proven track record and a methodology in my mind that would give us the biggest bang for the buck. I personally believe. Now, I don't invest in various, I only invest in, I guess, stocks and ETFs, and I stay away from bonds and money markets and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, I really would like to go with, frankly, if you want to break it up, that sounds like a pretty good deal. There's no minimum. I would like to see us go with somebody that a big bank like Bank of America. They're not going to fold. Not to say that the other alternatives will be a lot less safe. But I like the idea that Melissa is dealing with Bobby, and frankly, the way I look at it, 0.25%, rate. And by the way, that's only if he's managing treasuries and in CDs. If you put it into a money market, there's no charge at all. So we're not talking about a lot of money. If we had $1 million in treasuries and CDs, then we're talking about, $2,500 a year, something like that. So I don't think it's a big deal. Now, obviously, I've looked into other money managers, and they charge a hell of a lot more. So in my mind, at $2,500 a year for $1 million, that's kind of like peanuts as far as I'm concerned. That's just my own personal point of view.
And Jim, we're going to bring this back to the finance committee. Obviously, the discussion is about the board's choosing Merrill. So then the finance committee will then work with Bobby and with Merrill to make the investment. Anybody else?
Anybody else on the discussion part?
I'm happy to make the motion.
Oh, Mark did.
Oh, sorry.
Will you read it back one more time,
What?
Ro? Thank you.
Mark made a motion to accept Merrill Lynch with funds to be invested without a management fee. George second.
George second. All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I,
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you do my financial report real quick?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get that.
All right. So last night at 6:38 p.m., I know on the agenda it says we did not receive April's financials, but we did get March and April's financials. And Melissa's goal was to finish the May financials by next week. So we're getting our arms around this by the May report. Melissa feels comfortable that we'll be beyond Hawkeye and any errors and GL codes and things. Ever since we've transitioned to Campbell, thank you previous board for making that change. Everything's been on track. Everything's in the right GL accounts. The money's where it needs to be. We still have a couple of bounce checks from Hawkeye, but we're dealing with that. So, I want to recognize all the work that Melissa's done for us for recovering our funds and for getting accurate accounting in order to provide us with the financials.
Alex has done a lot of work too. Both of them.
And then the financials package has been shared with all the board members, and I passed it along to the finance committee and said, please, if you have any questions, let us know. Last thing I was going to touch on is at last board meeting, we approved, well, actually, let me talk about Phase Point and Pfizer. Tennis income was in excess of 15,000. Last board meeting, we approved that we would give a mid-month payment of $7,000 to GEM to allow them to go ahead and pay their staff. So that will take place going forward. And because it was over 15,000, we got our 10%. So we earned over 1,500 for the month. And that concludes my treasurer's report.
Which is excellent considering this is also, the slower month.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah,
That's
that is great. Okay, wonderful. So we're gonna move on to committees. Finance committee, I think we kind of just covered that pretty substantially in the finance report. So we'll move on to social committee. Lorraine, that's you. I don't know, can you see her if she speaks over there? I might need you, we might need you to come sit here just so we can hear you on the speaker. Sorry.
Yeah, come get a front row seat.
You can move back there when you're done.
I just want to say something as a person who listens to recordings sometimes or, comes in. And sometimes you don't make it clear who's speaking or what you're speaking about. Like as a person who's here a lot and kind of follows what's going on, I have no idea what Melissa is.
Oh,
You kept talking about Melissa.
Lindsay Geiger's our controller at camp.
yeah,
Controller.
she's helping us with the transition
Okay.
of the funds.
That's great, but probably some people listening will like, no.
Yes.
So, you know, she's sitting on that.
Yes.
And my name's Lorraine Testani, and I don't know who this is either.
This is Alexis.
This is Alexis.
Yeah, I'm a regional manager with Capital.
Okay, great. See, just kind of know what's going on. Also, I'm curious, who is on the financial committee?
So who's on?
Who's on the financial?
Tim Carey, Ryan, tomorrow,
Ryan tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
and
Mark.
Jim Grunza, Jim Grunza and myself.
Okay.
5 people.
Okay, I know all those players. Okay, I have good tidings to bear. We have been really working hard on social committee. I'm kind of ends up being the chair, but we do have a group of people that are very active in it. We met a couple times this month, planning next season's events. I kind of feel like we go from season, you know, we start in the fall, it's kind of like a school year kind of thing, so it's not necessarily this year. So it's not just by this year's budget, it'll go into 2027 budget as well, which I know that you had a hard time getting the financials, but we don't have a budget yet. So that's something that we need.
You have a 26 budget.
Now that we have April, which we got late last night, we'll be able to get you a complete budget.
But what's left
Within the next couple
year,
days.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be able to get you that now that we've got April done.
And I have had pretty good luck getting people to respond that they're willing to help with parties, but everybody must be an Indian, and I need some chiefs. So that's what we're working on now. Anybody out there that's listening, that we'd like to take charge of one of the things that we're planning, that would be great.
Lorraine, I don't want to cut you off, but it would really be helpful if you have maybe a title or a little description of what you're looking for the chief, so that way maybe if there's something, like if somebody has a special gift, they'll be able to tap into that. Okay.
I'll tell what we have.
We can recruit.
Brittany and I and Kristen Stevenson have met a couple of times with Joy Miss Kern, who doesn't want to be called co-chair. She wants to be, what does she say she wants? Oh, she wants to be my wingman. Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned.
We shall call her the director of happiness. Okay. Got it.
All right, so we met a couple of times. Lots of people saying that they're interested in helping. We're going to start with a great new, I hope is maybe a tradition, as the fall kickoff, working with Jem. We're going to have a big deal with the FAU football teams opening game.
You want your dinner?
Okay, so there are community, Kristen Stevenson was going to ask the president of the FAU if perhaps he would like to join us.
He's one of our neighbors. So.
Yeah, the game is actually in Gainesville. So, and that's the Gators' first game, but we're only gonna focus on the FAU part. Okay, we're supposedly neutral. And we want
Our local team.
I was gonna say, we have some gators in the community. We can't shut them down. We'll make it friendly.
Our local team.
Yes.
Well, this is a kickoff. I'm working with Jem on this. This is a kickoff for the whole football season. So we're gonna ask the community to wear their colors. I mean, people got somebody going to the University of Tennessee. They're gonna be, leaning that way.
My son was an owl.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be a great event. And on June 29th, Joy and I are meeting, actually here in the clubhouse, but it's gonna be a FaceTime meeting with Julie. I don't know the name of Julie's company, to tell you the truth.
It's JX. JX3 party rentals, I believe, or party
events.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we do have a really nice budget, and we're assuming we still will once we get the numbers down, Julie is gonna be helping us a lot this year, the party planner. She worked with Brittany last year. She's fabulous.
Wonderful.
And
I've known Julie almost 20 years.
Yeah,
So I will
and,
say there's nobody better.
Tim and I, we put on the big relaunch of the tennis thing. It was Julie that helped us do all that. And we will continue to use our neighbors for the brewery, the Crow Brewery. We'll kind of keep it involved. But I think the kickoff event's gonna be great. Jem's gonna start it with a round robin. So tennis people will be here. And then we'll come inside. The game isn't until 7:45 at night. So the games we'll all watch it in here and whatever. And we're trying to encourage any children under the age of 14 will have to be with an adult. And we would like to encourage only to have children here that want to watch the game, you know, that if they're here to run around, then hopefully they'll be left home with, you know, a babysitter or whatever sense. Okay, so that's our kickoff, the first one. We have a hard time advertising. I'm a big fan of Facebook and I use it a lot. And people know my name, you go, oh, you posted that on Facebook, whatever. But it's a great way to advertise for the social committee. And because, you know, we can't send out notifications constantly from here when it's an actual event, you know, then we certainly will, but I'm gonna post on Facebook all of these things that we're planning and find out what kind of interest that we get from the community. And then, like the last thing we're thinking of that we don't have anybody working on it is a casino night. Well, we all think it's great. The social committee thinks it'd be really fun to have it. That won't be until April. But we would like some feedback. So I really like to encourage people to use Facebook at least to check on what's going on with the Facebook or with the social scene. Okay, I know that Brittany used to use it when she was doing social media. So it's good. Okay. So that's the advertising and that's really important. It was great when we had that little mail slot to, you know, get information out to people. So that's September. And that'll be combined with Jem to have that be part of his event also. I've given him a list of all the events and told him he's welcome to come aboard anything that we're doing, that if he wants to tie it in with the tennis community. And certainly we want to have anybody that works at Oak Bath attend our events, okay? I mean, just makes it more fun if we see each other when we're outside. Okay, then in October, we're going to have an Oktoberfest. And we already have a lead for that. And that's going to be Joy, who loves Oktoberfest. So, and we will work with the party planner on that. And so we're having a meeting with her on the 29th. So if we could get our budget by the 29th, that would be great.
Within a week.
Yeah.
Or less.
So we can find out how much we can promise her and what kind of things, you know, we want her to go to leave her housing and those kind of things for the actors.
Who was our neighbor who had the Oktoberfest party?
That was the Millers.
That was
Wasn't that awesome?
extraordinary.
Best potato salad I've ever had.
I'm gonna try to get them,
Everything.
I'm gonna try to get them involved as
That
well.
was extraordinary.
The decoration center, the only thing was they charged and nobody came prepared to pay a fee.
Oh,
Well,
I
I
didn't
think what
remember
people
that.
didn't realize is that they did that on their own.
Right, it wasn't a
Right.
BBT
Yeah.
event, it was a Miller family
Yeah.
generosity event.
we can discuss that, and Joy is definitely going to contact them because they do have some good information. And hopefully they'll be here working with us. But Brittany had the suggestion that we do it in the newly paved parking lot, which will hopefully be done by then. And so that would be where the Oktoberfest will be set up out there.
Well, easier than closing off the road like we used to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of closing off the road, have it out there in the parking lot, and of course, the inside if it's raining, you know, we'll cover all that.
We should make sure we consider tenting,
I don't know, I mean, tenting the whole parking lot.
not the whole parking lot, but.
I don't know.
If you remember when we did the grand reopening party, we had threat of rain and
Yeah.
within 24 hours, we spoke with Julie and we had this entire side of the patio here from here to the fence covered. So we
We'll
had,
definitely talk about that with Julie,
Yeah.
you know, she's going to kind of be our expert guiding us. Then we've got Halloween, which we do not have a chairperson for, but that's an easy party with pumpkin carving contest and costumes. And then we are going to have Christina Lewis is going to be hosting a Dream Makers event here, which is a charity. And since she's a resident and it's a charity, she can rent this place. She suggested like maybe a bingo night or something.
they just have to be careful the day of the week with it being a complimentary event without paying rent.
Okay, well, it's November 13th, and I think that's a Friday, so is that, Brittany and I have discussed this and
Nice,
discussed it with Kristen.
Okay.
So, or with Christina, so if you wanna tell her.
I think it's a charity event.
Hold on. They have to do a security deposit, charitable or educational events in non-primetime hours, Monday through Friday. Yeah, so it should be fine.
It's a conflict with a rental
Right,
Yeah.
and I have given all these dates to Ro, and she's putting them on the calendar. So that when somebody tries to rent something on one of our social things, she's already, she and Flo and I are working on that together to get that up. And also, so in Dream Makers, the only thing the social committee would do was hire a food truck worker. We won't pay for the food truck, it won't be any money out of our budget, but we will provide that food truck for the people attending her auction. So, it's no big deal. That was a request and we're gonna have that. Okay, turkey trot. Has anybody ever lived in a neighborhood that had a turkey trot on Thanksgiving morning? So we're looking for an organizer, and that should be almost nothing. I mean, maybe you have water.
It's easy.
And
Some
so
donuts.
we just have to find the person that's going to, see, I'm out of town on Thanksgiving and so is Joy, so we won't be involved in the turkey trot. So to help us find a turkey
We'll find
trotter.
someone.
Not for anything, what about Emily Jones, because she's already, I mean, is it like an actual, like a run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She used to do she used to do a lot with the triathlon, and Wendy, I'm just thinking that they may be resourceful, because they used to already kind of do those kind of activities.
Trips, was it trips?
Yeah, I thought the trips, because they're huge runners.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I did not know.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
huge runners.
So anyway, please.
Very
just
talented
donate
people.
And all you can do is say, meet at the clubhouse, and we're all gonna take off together, and people buy stupid turkey hats and things like that. That's a traditional turkey trot, and it really is not anything but doing the run before you go home and start making the big Thanksgiving thing.
Instead of even buying Mars, maybe as a community, we can all have coolers at the end of our driveway or something, you know what I mean? And like, how they have in like marathons, you like hand them off. I don't know.
Okay, adult holiday party. This is another thing that we're looking for someone, and I have asked several people personally to do it, and I've gotten no's from everybody. So we would really like a classy holiday party, the group, glitter and glam, that would be, you will use the party planner for it, especially if we don't get anybody, that's willing to host it. But we need to decide if we want music or if we don't or whatever. I talked to Jim about it and he volunteered to do an ugly sweater event. So that I just want to say that to him. I said, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for sequins and but an ugly sweater outside on his tennis courts where at.
Can I ask you to reach out to my wife? My wife Ina, because she,
I'm sorry,
it's
or not.
phonetically, it's ENA, phonetically.
ENA.
Yeah, Ina, but it's actually INNA.
Oh,
And the reason why I bring her up is she loves these type of glitz and glam type of things. She really does. In fact, who was having a child going to UT, University of Tennessee? We have a place in Chattanooga. And there's a place called the Reed House, which is very famous. And they have a New Year's glitz party and everybody dresses up like the 20s.
Hey,
And it is absolutely spectacular.
that sounds fun to me.
It's
I'm
so
in.
classy, so
Sign me
much
in.
fun. It's so cool. By the way, you'll love Chattanooga.
I'm very excited.
I would love it if you would have your wife contact me.
I'll do that.
Because
She likes that.
I'm not so good on cold calls.
Okay.
That is like sauce for me, nope.
Well, it'll get very warm very fast. She's Ukrainian, so it'll get very warm very fast.
All right, well, if she wants to contact me and talk about this, then that would happen.
So I have a quick question. You mentioned that you weren't getting people to step in and everything. I'm just curious, how are we getting it out? I didn't know about any of these. And I know I wasn't able to come to the meeting the other day, but like, for example, the holiday party, that's literally right up my alley. I mean, I have a tremendous background in hospitality. So that's what I'm saying. Like, how are we at? Cause I'm like, nobody mentioned anything. First I've ever heard of it.
I've invited people to the social committee meeting.
Right, but they're
Started, and one person showed up. Okay, Joy and I, Brittany and Kristen said would all show up. But I have a lot of names of people who want to help.
Maybe it's the time of day that the meetings are, because I know that could be part
I
of it.
know, one lady called from the community and said that she was part of the corporate world, so she couldn't make any daytime meetings. We just, and then I gave her the actual date of when we were gonna have the holiday party, and she said it conflicted with her corporate party. So there we go. I mean, the dates are all set.
There's always gonna be a conflict. We'll
Yeah,
never please
right.
everyone. That's
That's
okay.
right.
We keep pressing on.
But again, I do my advertising on Facebook because it's my only reach, with moving. I advertised 3 times for the social committee meeting. And I did get several people volunteering to help, but they didn't actually come to the meeting. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm sorry I'm taking up too much time, but I won't be back doing this again. So, the holiday party, I would love to help Kirsten. That sounds great. And Inez, that's wonderful. Now, the kids' holiday party, and Brittany suggested that we also have a cookie exchange at the same time that we have the kids' holiday party. And Joy and I really want to go back to the Lolly the Top Trolley days. Do you remember when we had Lolly the Trolley? Does anybody remember?
I
that?
don't.
I tried to hire them the last time and it was like $3,000. Their prices have gone sky high. We can't afford it.
Okay, well, we will talk to Julie.
It's not.
We'll talk to Julie and see if she can find us a trolley that's not $3,000. I mean, that's really silly to have that.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of the trolley is that you go around the neighborhood and look at all the decorations that people put.
So during what we did was we substituted the golf cart and
Okay.
decorated the golf cart instead of.
Yeah, that's fun too.
And I thought that was,
We had people renting golf carts just to bring it in that day and decorate to go out on the golf cart.
that's what got us to buy our
So we
house.
Substituted it.
Fun fact, Diane Paez was the agent who listed Cindy and Rich's home that we ended up buying.
Mhm.
But before we put the bid on the house, she said, come as my guest, come to the holiday party. And I was like, okay, sure, sounds great. We came, we saw the giant pile of fake snow. We saw everybody festive, everybody eating and drinking. And then I saw the golf cart and bicycle and scooter parade. And I'm like, where do I sign? This is exactly
And I did
So-
put that in my notes here, that.
But it
we
kind of
didn't do
fizzled.
Lolly the trolley. Also, if all the adults didn't want to ride on Lolly, then they could have the parade with the golf carts or whatever too.
Right.
And I didn't realize it was so expensive, and that.
It was, and it worked out actually more fun because people had fun decorating the carts and outdoing the neighbors. It was nice.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
know.
go get a golf
You
cart,
have it.
then I don't have one. And I'm also not gonna bring my bike.
I can use
Last, getting down to the bottom here, the cookie exchange would be before this, and I don't know if you're not familiar with cookie exchange, but as many cookies as you bring, you get to pick assorted cookies. So if you
Sorry.
brought 3 dozen cookies
Okay.
of one kind, you would leave with 3 dozen cookies of assorted kinds.
Wow.
And everybody loves cookie exchange.
Yes.
That would be before the kids' party, and then we are gonna have a Hanukkah celebration, but that person, she said she came to that meeting.
I will talk to her, so no worries. Well, she would be, I'm sure she'll be more than.
She said I was here for 20 minutes and there's nobody.
It's okay.
And they're just sitting here.
It's all right, just keep moving on.
Yes.
Okay, all right, Hanukkah party, we think we've got settled, but we don't have a date. And then we're questioning, and this would be something that I would ask, one of my Facebook questions is if we'd be interested in a Super Bowl party. And that might be something that Jim would be interested again, that he would maybe do a tennis thing. And then everybody come in and watch the Super Bowl. And we would have, like before the.
Yeah.
SAU one, we're gonna have tailgate food and, that brought in. And Super Bowl party would be Super Bowl party food. But again, we just need to find out if people would be interested in coming. The weekend camp out is all scheduled, and Kat Rivera, who has done it in the past, is willing to chair that again this year.
Great.
It's a huge job, so that's hooray for Kat. And she and I do the Easter egg hunt. We've done it for the last couple of years, and we're willing to do that again. And then, as I mentioned, the casino night, but I don't know if people are really interested. And we have a lot of other ideas too, but this is our start.
Quick question. I know the hardest thing about organizing is if you're doing a caterer, caterer's a little easier, but when you're bringing food in, do we have people register to try and get a head count on how many people actually going to show up? Because that's the hardest part. Do you
It's the
prepare
hardest
50 or?
of every event, yeah.
Right, so years ago when I was president last, I had come up with a form that said, okay, let's gauge after the event. It was like, okay, what caterers do we use? Give them, would we use them again? How much do we spend? How many people showed up? So we have an idea. And I said, I don't know what happened to it, but I said, make a free reminder or something. So for social committee people, they can go back and say, oh, let's look at what we did last Easter, last. So we have caterers and we know who we used and they were good. We're done.
Mark, when we did the wristbands for the previous events, was that the grand reopening when we?
Yeah, so we had a great response for the
So
grand
helpful.
reopening.
And
But
it prevented
yeah.
outsiders from crashing our
And you
party.
knew exactly how many, pretty, within reason.
yeah, we kind of got a little lax on that, but when we did the grand reopening, we did wristbands for over 21. And then we also did, you had to have wristbands in order to get food.
Right.
And that really helped because it forced kind of people to come in, say they were coming, get their wristbands in advance. So that might be an idea if you want to go back to using that. For the grand reopening, we had a great response, and then every party after that, we had no response.
That was great. I mean, the grand opening is something everybody wanted to come to.
Yes, we did.
We gave away 5 platters of food to
We
Boca
do.
hands because it's like.
We
You
do
don't
give
know.
away the extra food, but it is very difficult to.
I
So I think if we can,
respond.
if you can ask for that, the wristbands or however it is, register online, respond to Facebook. Just trying to get your head around or because
We have a hard time with.
you have a budget to work with and you
I
can't,
know.
that's the hardest part.
It's
It
difficult.
just worked out, but we advertised and
Yeah.
let non-residents come, that were involved in the tennis program. There's tons of non-residents that are involved in the tennis program. And we allowed them to come to the relaunch thing.
Mhm.
That helped with the numbers. So, those things have to be figured out.
I know. Don't worry,
I'm
I'm
gonna go to my grave and say, I need to get my money.
gonna bring one by much larger
Things
than
are the best.
those were a ridiculous hit.
So
Could
good.
not have predicted that was, I had a.
Well, that is quite the lineup.
Thank you, Lorraine, so much. You did a fantastic job. We really appreciate you taking that over. We are going to move on to tennis committee, and Jem unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, so Kristen's gonna read his report really quick.
I am the closest to Jen that anybody else has in the room right now.
Yes.
That's kind of scary. Okay. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here, sends his regrets. We're excited to report that the kids' summer camp has completed 2 full weeks with a full roster of participants.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that in years.
No.
So I am thrilled. And actually our daughter, she's 17, so she was really excited to actually pick up some part-time work with another resident's daughter. So we've got 2 teenagers. So it was great to see, the kids in the community having an opportunity to kind of be camp counselors and get to know some of the other families, and they're doing a good job. So, and it gets them out of my house. So the energy on the court has been fantastic. I will vouch for that personally. We appreciate all the families that have made camp such a success. The next social event will be Breakfast at Wimbledon, the tennis social on Sunday, July 12th. And we look forward to celebrating one of tennis's greatest traditions with all of our members. League play is also in full swing. This summer, with 3 adult teams representing our club, we have a men's summer team captained by Anthony Carlo, summer league team captained by Mindy Powers, and then there's another summer league also captained by Mindy. The maintenance update, previous ice machine will be relocated and installed near courts 5 through 8, which is great, providing convenient access to ice for players in that area. And all hand sanitizer stations throughout the tennis facility are being replaced with new units to improve accessibility and appearance. So,
Perfect.
Yep.
Question,
Sure.
treasurer question.
Yes.
Do they register to pay for camp through Playboy Point or they just pay it separately? I don't know how that works.
I don't know either.
There was a QR code
on the, oh wait, you know what? I think I have the flyer.
on the flyer.
I can pull the flyer up and that'll probably give us the answer, Mark, if you bear with
Okay.
me.
Yeah. I know we pay,
I
I
just don't
can't.
know if we get our 10%. Because we're using, we're using facilities, we're using the core.
No, I'll make sure that is the case. I'll
Yes.
I have to stop asking, I will vouch for the attendance. I stopped in Rose's office to talk and there were like 30 kids in the.
Yeah.
There was like 15.
Or 50, okay.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Vouch for that as well.
It
It's
is
great
full.
attendance, so
It is
super exciting.
packed. In fact, I think I was like trying to sneak my kid in. He's like, you got 2 weeks until we're open. I'm like, okay.
Here is the QR code. You want to just scan it and see what it takes
Yeah.
you to do.
Let's see. Oh, it's a jot form. So it's like the legal form. And not legal,
Right.
not legal, but
Waiver,
Because there has to be a
waivers.
waiver.
Yeah, so I'll talk to him about that,
Okay.
but it doesn't,
There's some a resident already questioned subdivision report, so we getting our.
actually, this isn't though how we paid. You can't pay here, so, and I wonder if I
Okay.
even paid for camp.
Let me know.
Let me double check I paid.
Stealing camp. Oh
Sorry,
my
guys.
gosh.
What's the question about camp? My kids have been there. I can elaborate on how this all
How are we
works.
paying for camp?
How did you
Okay,
pay
so
for the
it's
camp?
through Play by Point. So it's whatever
Okay.
card you have on
Super.
file with
Perfect.
Play by Point.
So you,
Oh, okay.
you have a nice look.
So then hopefully Jen just ran my card, but I'll double check that he ran my card. Okay, thanks, Kristen. All right, ARB, I'm gonna, oh, I'm so sorry, go ahead.
Just like to comment that Brad is doing a fabulous job.
He is on a broken foot.
He,
Poor guy, yeah, he broke his foot.
He is, yeah.
He's has to feel.
Yeah,
Jim's not feeling well, and I'm telling you, he is.
and thanks to Alexa Baneros, she's been a huge asset for them. And I know there was a new boy here helping as well. So, and London's
London's
pitching
helping.
in, so.
She's the afternoon shift.
Yeah, so thanks to all the neighborhood kids.
And I thought the he was going a week or 2 weeks, so you're saying that extended.
There are, I think it's through the end of July, to the best of my knowledge.
Good.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 weeks involved, so it's,
We don't have enough to offer some of the regular lessons because of the camp taking, I mean, I'm thrilled with the camp,
Yeah.
big plus. But, so Jim and Brad will still be doing that through July, and it won't be.
Well, there's a pool of pros. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's other pros to pull from. Like we have Jonathan Goldfarb, we have Tara Dunn. There are other pros.
That they were, like, we couldn't have it coming this week because there wasn't to teach. Marika has personal stuff that she couldn't, do it, so.
we'll talk to Jem, but yeah, pretty much the camp is running through July and Jem and Brad will be responsible for that. Until then.
And to tag that question then at Lorraine's point, does it interfere with the women's tennis league on tennis on
No.
Tuesdays?
That's the first time I've heard that there's.
I saw the reports on
I was at B1 clinic today and
Okay.
C1 has tomorrow. So I think that was just an oversight, honestly, Lorraine, because I know Marika had a family emergency.
Right.
So
That's probably the situation.
I also had a lesson this morning with Jem and was able to do it while camp was running. I think he has
Good.
Freddie. Freddie's actually coaching the kids and Brad. It's not
Yeah.
Jem. Jem's overseeing things, but he's still conducting lessons as planned.
Yeah, I saw him last week working with lessons while the kids were on these courts, the back courts, so.
Good.
I think he is still, Jem is still available, unless there's an emergency, like I'm assuming what happened today where he had to kind of, play multiple roles, but, okay, ARB.
Harry, just to let you know, the Campbell system and the committee, I want to thank the committee because we had 2 approvals a week and a half ago and we approved both of them the same day, but like within 3 hours after they applied. We also had a 10-day turnaround time on new construction. We have an empty lot that's going to get a brand new house on it. And just to show you kind of the extra steps we go to, I actually had lunch with the father builder / co-owner of the property and just we changed his floor plan, his exterior of the house to his liking, so they changed the floor plan according to what we suggested. We modified the front yard just because there was a lot of land of hardscape. Just said, soften the lines a little bit. So thank you to the committee. It's working. Response times are amazing. There are some complaints that we've dealt with, like residents reporting other residents for cutting trees and things. So. But we dealt with it, and thanks to Roe and Flo, we're notifying them and it's being handled. I don't think anything's gone above ARB to come to the board other than the last committee meeting, board meeting we had where one gentleman wanted to appeal. But other than that, I think we're handling a lot of things you don't hear about.
We really appreciate that,
That's
Mark.
working.
I personally really appreciate that.
me too.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that, and I am so excited to submit my first online ARB application tomorrow. So
I have one coming too. Stay tuned.
yay. All right, so for the president's report, I'm gonna get into a little bit of detail on a few of these, but to be honest, most of this stuff is just repetitive from what we said last month. I'm gonna do you have a motion to make on padel and basketball courts? I'm gonna let Mark
Well, that's all business.
go. You're gonna do them in, oh, sorry,
Talking about the
ratification.
ratification.
All right, never mind. Sorry, I'm gonna move that to old business. So Padel basketball courts, Mark and I had a meeting with them last week. We were supposed to be doing an on-site meeting tomorrow, which they didn't respond. I have a conflict on that, so we are gonna try to push that to Friday. So that way we can meet with them on site, figure out what's going on. We are still in the permitting process for that. I know it seems extensive, but unfortunately, the permitting is as great as Boca permitting and code enforcement is. So we are on it. We are working to expedite this project. It is a daily conversation, if not hourly conversation for me. So it is constant amongst the board, and we are working very hard to keep that moving. And the minute I have an update of when we will be breaking ground and so on and so forth, I will get that to everyone, get that out.
And we got a change order today.
Yes. You
$7,500.
got a little bit of money back for that.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. I'm gonna actually skip tree trimming and move to sidewalks. I'm gonna come back to tree trimming. Sidewalks, parking lot update. So we got the updated survey, so we submitted that to building code or permitting as well. The parking lot, they just submitted to do the repavement. The sidewalks, we are going to move forward with the new sidewalks along the back here. I am in communication with Greenscapes about doing the tree. They don't like to call it root grinding. They want to call it root pruning. And so they are going to kind of walk through the worst of the trees. The fact of the matter is our trees are at age for most of these trees. They are mature trees. With that comes extensive root systems, which is ruining a lot of the sidewalk areas. A lot of the trees, we do have issues with dead trees, diseased trees. Just so everyone understands what Greenscapes is, because I personally didn't understand until I became president. They are strictly I want to call them tree liaison. They don't take out trees. They don't remove trees. They are guidance for us. They help extensively with permitting. They have a fantastic permit expediter who knows what she's doing. She gets it done. Every tree removed in our common area needs a permit. So if we do not have a permit, we cannot remove those trees. And some trees have needed emergency permits. And she's been able to get that to us where they say, go ahead and remove the tree and we'll kind of do the permit on the back end. So they are really a guiding light for us. They know extensively our trees. And so I just want people to understand when we talk about tree trimmings, when we talk about tree removals, we are communicating with Greenscapes so that way they can guide us as to the right way to prune trees, the right way to trim them up, which trees do need to be removed, which trees are diseased, and which trees are dangerous. So we are in communication with them for the sidewalks. They are going to mark the most severe trees, which we are going to tackle, whether they need to be removed and replaced or root pruned. They are going to advise us along that. So that is where we stand with the sidewalks and the parking lot.
Question, what's a tree permit cost? I have no idea.
So to the best of my knowledge I actually think they vary in the scope of the work. I know it cost us for the hedge permit, it was $2,000. I don't know if that's what all permits for tree removals are, but we can combine a bunch of tree removals onto one permit, which is what we're trying to do right now with the trees that are dead and need to be removed and the hedge permit.
The open permit, you said we have the
Correct.
piggyback.
That's what we're trying to do right now is kind of piggyback off in a currently open tree permit that we have. But see, this is where she comes in because she's got the connections with the city. She knows what she's doing. She makes a phone call. They say yes. We save ourselves $2,000. So yes, we spend a little bit on their side, but we save on the other. Okay, tree trimming, that'll lead into tree trimming for me. So the trees were trimmed in 22 by Zimmerman. The trees were trimmed in 24. I don't know the name of the company that did those trees, which leaves us to 26. They should be trimmed every 2 years. We should have trimmed the trees this year, or we should be trimming the trees this year. The perimeter trees, which are the trees that run along Military and Potomac, we are responsible for those. Those have not been trimmed in 4 years. So those are very overgrown and absolutely 100% need to be trimmed back this year at minimum, simply because we are spending a significant amount of money on the wall in the hedge. And we don't want giant overgrown trees over a new, very expensive hedge that we're planting. So, or a wall that we're replacing or that we're updating that they can then drop branches on. So, and let's just be very clear, we have $5,000 in the budget to trim trees. So,
I saved that for last on purpose.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it all out on the table for everyone to fully understand where we stand with this. I am working with Greenscapes and we would like to kind of put together some kind of guidance for trimming the perimeter trees and the swale trees this year. Some kind of, this is what needs to be done. So when we go to get three bids, the bids are consistent with each other, and we can hand that to the tree trimming companies and say, this is what we need done this year in particular. I'm not going to make a motion tonight. We will do that in July when I have the bids. But what I'm kind of putting out there on the table is that at minimum, the swale trees and the perimeter trees need to be trimmed this year. I think we can buy ourselves 1 more year on the park trees and leave those to next year. So my proposal to the board would be we alternate every other year. Perimeter trees and swale trees get cut one time, park trees get cut the next year. And then that's what Greenscapes has asked us every other year to do. If we are able to maintain a schedule like this, with the guidance of how the tree should be properly pruned with the proper supervision, then what it does is it sets us up for the future to have a less cost. It's not going to cost us as much because we're not waiting 4 years to prune trees. We're pruning them on an every other year basis with the guidance of people that know how our trees are supposed to be pruned. So 3-4 years from now, the pruning costs should come down substantially. Unfortunately, they will be high this year because the trees have not been pruned, and we're overdue.
Yeah.
That's what I would propose to the board, and that's what we're going to get a proposal. We'll have 3 proposals for July for the perimeter trees and the swale trees for this year. Next year, we can get proposals for the park trees, and that'll be another board. And then the following year in 28, we can go back to swale and perimeter trees. So that's the tree trimming. At minimum, the perimeter trees need to be done this year. Hopefully, we can also go ahead and approve the trimming of the swale trees. They become dangerous at a certain point, and when they become overgrown, we've been very fortunate. I don't want to use the H word during H word season, but we are due, and it could happen. And I don't, let's just be real. I'm not going to put it out there in the universe, but we've been very lucky for very many years.
I have an idea. Your idea is genius, frankly.
Thank you.
I don't care where it came from. It came from you. I think that's very intelligent. Is it possible to open it up to the homeowners that we're going to be trimming trees, and if they need trees trimmed, this is the time they should do it, because odds are the homeowners will save some money, and our community and our budget should save some money by increasing the quantity of trees that they're doing all at one time. Because I have to trim trees in my backyard every 2 years. My mango tree is massive, and we have something else called a carrot tree. It's massive. Every 2 years, they have to be trimmed down.
Right.
So it would be intelligent for people to kind of jump on the bandwagon.
So I believe we did that with Zimmerman 4 years ago when they came in. We created a scope of work that the HOA was willing to pay for.
And the
Anything
homeowners.
outside of that scope of work, then the homeowners were going to be responsible for. It did get a little messy, I think, because it got a little bit of like, well, you said you were gonna cover that, and then, so what I will probably suggest is that what we'll do is we will agree to pay for our HOA trees, our swale trees, but I will talk to the company that we all agreed to choose. And I will say, like, we'll put a notice out to the community saying they're gonna be in the neighborhood these 3 weeks. Give them a call and see if they'll come and trim your trees since they're in the community anyway. The homeowners can reach out directly to the company that we choose, and then maybe the company will say, sure, we'll give a 20% discount or
There you go.
to homeowners. So
If we think about it,
absolutely.
they'll have the machinery and they'll have the
Yeah.
manpower.
it makes
Instead of
sense.
coming back 2, 3, 4 times for a couple of trees.
Most
It
definitely.
just might be beneficial.
Yeah, so I think if we can create our own scope of work and then let homeowners kind of work on their own to do that, I think that's a great idea as well. So I will definitely, we'll add that.
Two things. So one of the things I think we're gonna have to trim the trees in swales this year.
Yeah, I
And
know. I'm well aware, which is what I'm saying
so
now.
accounting and treasurer is a zero-sum game. If we take money from some other line item to pay for trees, we have 5,000. Why it's only 5,000? That's the budget. So going forward, we have to learn from that and make
Yes.
sure that we fund these things accurately.
Yes.
Again, if we fund 12,000, something brings 12,000, 13,000.
For the swale
But it was
trees.
then it was 23,000. I remember two numbers. Maybe it was in between when we just did some minor trimming.
I'm not gonna
With the
throw
heavy
numbers
trimming, I
out,
think it was 23,000.
It's gonna be a lot.
but it's
But we have to
gonna
do
be
both of that.
significant.
It's gonna be big.
But again, we have to steal that money from somewhere else in the budget.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so but I don't think Brittany and I talk this frequently, like daily, about Boca Bethlehem is not keeping up our appearance, whether it's internally with other communities, and it shows. It
Yeah.
shows that we're just not taking care of our community.
We're getting run down.
Again, this is one of these things that it's got to be regular maintenance. If we can do it every year, we should.
Right.
But again, I think we can't put it off another year.
No,
So we have to do it.
It's a worthy investment for everyone's property value. I agree.
So we need to get, it's gonna be more than 5,000, so we need to get no less than 2 bids, and we've learned.
Yeah, I will make sure,
That's not the best place to go for bidding.
I will make sure 100% that we will have 3 bids. I've already talked to Green Capes about some people they recommend.
And then the other thing too is we fortunately have one resident, a new resident building a house that actually asked us for the specs for how to trim a tree, and they're gonna pay to
Yes.
trim their own trees as well.
And that residents are welcome to do as long as they trim to the specs that we have given to them. So if residents want to trim their own swale trees, they can. It just has to be in accordance to what our guidelines are.
Do we have those?
We do. Yes, they're in the office. So if someone wants to come by and take a look, they're welcome to. It is a little bit of hieroglyphics, so
That's fine.
we will.
Arborists understand.
Our versus understand, correct?
I just question the timing of this. We're in the middle or the beginning of the.
Yes.
Lesson. So, I mean, it's gonna take another month or two for this to get going. So-
Correct. The goal is to have the trimmings done by the end of August, which is when,
You would do it before June.
Going forward.
Yes.
You would just not name a contract and have it
the
done.
goal is not to be put in this position again. In fact, it was something that wasn't really even on the agenda for this year, and I kind of am making it part of the agenda for this year. So,
But in the past, it's always been in the middle of hurricane season.
Right,
Before.
it's always probably before.
yes, I agree 100% with you. And then what also happens is this is also the busiest time for the tree trimmers because they also are swamped with everyone trying to get their trees trimmed before hurricane season. So you are spot on 100%. Moving forward in January would be the goal, which is why we're trying to put together this, you know, if you want to call it an RFP or whatever you want to call it, this scope of work that we're trying to get. So every year, you know, we have a management company now that's assisting us and managing a lot of this that we were just sort of blindly guided through last year. And so they can, in January, Roe can go and say, this is the scope of work we need, and we need it done by June 1st, and come get this done for us. So that is the goal. But we do find ourselves behind the 8 ball a lot with tree trimming for some reason. I don't know why it's always tree trimming, but it is. And my goal is to get it done by August, the end of August. I'm not going to be able to guarantee that. We will move as quickly as we can, though. But like I said, this was something that I was sort of like, wait, where is it? It's not there. So yeah, but moving forward, absolutely. Yes.
I don't know what the protocol is on the president's report, but should we comment just real quick?
Sure.
Whoever said that you can expect to get a discount when you do it off season is 100% correct. I trim my trees every year.
Good to know.
We pay to have them trimmed. Depending on pay to have them done every year.
Yes.
We always have them done in March or April. But still, it was a discount. But, and the other thing is, real quickly, Baker, Lansing and Tree used to do that many years ago. I'm talking maybe a dozen years ago. I bid them out every 3 years. They've done ours since then for at least a dozen years, maybe 15. No one has ever come close.
I just met with them.
Yeah, they're on our list.
And they do an exceptional job.
They're definitely ones on our list. We're working with a couple different, Greenscapes gave us a suggestion. So we're definitely, but they are definitely on our list for this year. So we will definitely take that into consideration.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Okay, quickly, administrative assistant position. As most people know, Flo is, she's going to start working a little bit more from home starting in August, September, or she will be working from home, more of a reference for us, I think, at that point, kind of giving her some paid time off, I think is what she really could use as well from BBT. So, well, she's an independent contractor, so she's going to pay herself time off. But anyway, not in the office. So I've got on here administrative assistant position. I'm going to put it out there. I don't think people understand how much. Well, first off, no one understands how much the president does until you become the president. Let's just put that out there. As a fact. Because I had no idea what the president did, which is why I was like, sure, I'll take it on. And this takes up more time than my family and my business, my small business that I run combined. I spend more hours and I find myself more days a week doing HOA work than I do anything else in my life. And I'm happy to do it, and I'm happy to contribute to my community. And I know many other people are as well. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be like that for our board members and for our president. We need more hired help. And I think the problem that BBT has faced for so many years is the turnover of, property managers, the turnover. We've had Flo run consistently, but it's really difficult when you turn a board over and it's an all new group. And then next thing you know, they're like, wait, what, who, where, when, why, how? And you need those people in place that are here year after year after year as employees, as managers, getting us through, getting new boards acclimated, new presidents to understand what's going on. So the administrative position it's very much needed. Roe, I started with myself. I should have started with Roe. As much as I take on, she takes on twice as much. So I am constantly reaching out to her for help, for quotes, for guidance. On top of that, she's running circles around the community, trying to check on things, following up. She's making sure we've got maintenance things going on. She put together a really great list of what an administrative assistant can help with. We need help with booking and running the calendar for the rentals. We need help with social committee, the coordination of the party, and coordinating with the chair. That can't all be on residents. Coordinating with the party planner, coordinating with the tennis program. You've got coordinations with just residents stopping in. I mean, every time I'm here, there's a resident in the office, which is pulling her time away from doing something that, you know, she needs to be doing on a daily basis. Answering phone calls, that's another, you know, just being available, having someone constantly available in the office, answering calls when Roe is out on site and out in the property. So, we can't get away from hiring an assistant, an administrative assistant. I don't have numbers for that right now. And starting in August, when Flo is more at home, we're really going to need someone here answering phones, being on site, being in the office. When residents come in, that office can't be empty. And Ro can't be there 24/7. She's also dealing with a lot of contractual work, contractors. We've got the sidewalks coming in, we've got the pavement company coming in, we've got Padel coming in. She will be coordinating all of that, as well as us, but she's the first face that they see. So I want to, I don't know if I need to make a motion for this, but I would like to get the board approval. Ro has given us a job description of what the administrative assistant would be doing. I will very quickly read through it, maintain association records, files, and databases. I forgot she also does all of our financials, prepare correspondence notice, newsletters, and resident communications, schedule and coordinate board meetings, annual meetings, and committee meetings, manage office supplies and administrative resources, serve as the first point of contact for homeowners, residents, and guests, respond to inquiries, concerns, and service requests in a professional and timely manner, track residents' complaints, coordinate follow-ups, support budget preparations, maintain vendor contracts, schedule maintenance, repairs, and inspections, communicate with contractors regarding work orders and project updates, monitor vendor performance and maintain service records, ensure association records comply with governing documents, maintain homeowner files, architectural review documents, track insurance policies, permits, licenses, and required renewals, provide administrative assistance to board of directors, prepare reports, presentations, and meeting packets, assist with election processes and annual meeting requirements, maintain confidentiality regarding board matters and resident information, decal, they need to coordinate decal, administration, oh my gosh. Wow, I just read too fast. Distribution, thank you. Lordy B.
That's what vice president is.
Thank you. Help me clear my brain. So, as everyone can see, it is a substantial amount of work. I want our residents to feel like it's covered. They don't have to worry about things. We are covered. We've got you. We've got your back. You have multiple points of contact when you come in. Your financials are being dealt with properly. So I would like to get the board approval to put this job description out to the marketplace to source some potential administrative assistants. We'll, just like we did for the tennis committee, we'll get a couple interviews going. We'll interview some people. The board will interview. Ro will sit in on that to make sure she can work well with them. And Campbell can assist us with that as well. So that is, do I need to make a motion to do that? Sorry to sound ignorant, but I'm new here.
If you want to open up for discussion, yes.
Great. I'm going to make a motion to create an administrative assistant position and put that position on a job search forum so that way we can start sourcing potential candidates.
We'll post it through recruiting, and then recruiting will share resumes, and they'll we do tests. So we test our applicants and stuff like that. So it's not just based on resume. They have to kind of go through like personality, behavioral, that kind of thing. And then we'll share those with Ro, and we can set up interviews.
Great. Do I need to adjust my motion, or is that okay how I said it? Okay, perfect. So that is my motion. Discussion, second?
Only discussion for me is that I just want to make sure.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes.
Can I have a second?
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Is someone going to second my motion?
I second.
Oh, second.
I second.
I thought that's what you did, Mark. I'm sorry. The only thing, so now we're in discussion, right? Okay.
Discussion.
I just want to make sure that we specifically add the distribution of the decals. And then we put some language in here about the coordination of the events and the tennis program. just something on a sidebar for us to keep in mind, because I think this is fantastic because it will give Ro the ability to do what her skill set really leans towards, and that is property management, not admin. So, you know, thank you, Ro, for carrying the load, but we definitely recognize the need for that support, and I'm so grateful that we're putting this together. With that said, in order for us to effectively manage the events that are going on here in the clubhouse, there is another option, and it's not something that we have to decide right this moment, but just something to keep in the back of our minds. I don't know that this role can effectively manage everything on this list and every weekend of events here at the clubhouse. But when I was talking with Julie with JX3 events, something that she mentioned was, she said, you know, we can always offer you somebody, you know, like if you guys have, you know, an event on Saturday at 4 o'clock and then you have an event on Sunday at 11 a.m. She's like, I can, like, you guys can hire that person, not us, not BBT, but the people. I don't know, or maybe it would be us. I don't know how that would work, but we can like subcontract it out basically to them to have their event person here to make sure that everything is set up properly according to what was agreed upon, that the number of people is not excessive compared to what they agreed to, because they could very easily, you know, when I looked at our reservation report, and I'm not suggesting somebody would do this intentionally, but you know, maybe they would, but you know, you don't want to sign an agreement, oh, I'm just going to pay for a small party for 30 people, but then there's 100 people here, you know, which is putting a strain on the gatehouse, puts a strain on the facility, but also to follow up and make sure that everything has been put away properly and that the chairs are put back in the right spots, like just, you know, all of those things, because we're going to run into a situation where something's not going to be put back, you know, the way it's supposed to be. And, you know, that's going to fall on the staff that's coming in Monday morning to realize, oh, over the weekend, all these parties happened and there wasn't anybody here to manage it. And we don't have a big staff. So I'm just thinking it could be a good way for us to avoid having to have an excessive amount of hours on the books. Just hire them as needed.
Any hands raised?
No.
I'm going to speak against the motion. This isn't how you hire a position. I would ask that you break this down into weekly, monthly, annual. Some of these things are annual events. Some of them are once a month.
Okay.
Some are once a week. And I would even like to see you map it out on a calendar and say, what's a weekly or monthly calendar look like? This is not a full-time job that you just outlined here. Answering the phones, yes. There's somebody here, yes. The other thing is, going back to zero-sum game, we don't have the money to pay for this. We don't have the money to hire somebody for a weekend. You don't have money for this. The person that you're spending the money on is sitting in that office right now. As she walks off, you got to start putting posting for what? What are you going to pay? You have the money.
Well, we're
That wasn't part of
generating,
the motion, by the way.
well, we are generating revenue with the bookings.
No, I'm not making the motion to actually hire someone right now.
Okay. But you're,
I'm just making the motion to start the search
To create.
so that we can start the search of the person. And then we will come back once we have the person and once we have the money aspect of this, and we can make another motion to actually hire that person. But I'm not making a motion to hire. I just want to start the search process
but
of
if you
this.
start the search, the expectation is you're going to start gathering resumes. That person has an expectation. I'm sending my resume out. There's an open position. There isn't an open position.
Well, we have to somehow, Mark, create some way. We will have to put it into the budget for next year. We will
Right.
have to make a
Well,
budget for next year.
And next year you'll have the money because of.
But Ro cannot be by herself August, September, October, November, and December. We have $6,000 or $8,000 left over from Flo's contract that we can tie into this. But we are going to have to come up with the funds, find the funds, because
Your budget's fixed.
then we have to, I
You
mean,
can't
there
change
is,
the dues, you
there
can't
are
change-
income generating avenues that we can go into. You know, we're income generating on the clubhouse now, where we weren't income generating on the clubhouse last year. We're income generating on tennis. So I understand we don't have a full scale of numbers, but
your budget took into account income on the clubhouse and income from the fence.
I
We
just want to
are,
add two things. First of all, we don't need a motion to explore options, and I think we should continually be
Right.
exploring options. And second of all,
Correct.
while we do have a
Okay.
fixed budget that accounts for all the things that Mark mentioned, the board also has the authority to go above or below it and to pull from reserves as needed. So we could always discuss that if it comes up. We could cut another line item. There are ways that we can adjust it accordingly if we deem this the appropriate course of action, but I don't see a point in arguing about it now.
okay, so we don't need to make them, so I can go ahead and have Campbell just start the search. Okay, so forget the motion. We'll just go ahead and start the search.
George had some other position, George.
I agree on both sides. So I don't have a vote one way or the other. We're not taking
No,
votes.
we're not
I don't
voting
have-
now.
I know.
Just discussion.
But, you know, I see both sides. I'm kind of more of an outsider than you all, but we were just talking about trees and saying it's gonna cost a fair amount of money. We don't have the money for that. We haven't done it for a number of years because we didn't have the money for that. I have a feeling the money was taken from that to be used for other things, and we're falling into the same trap. We just have to be careful of that. I've seen this happen with my kids. We all have with our kids. And they don't even get taught simple economics. But we're talking about simple economics and simple math. 1 minus 1 equals 0. No matter how you
Right.
play the numbers, and moving the balls and the cups around on the table may make a marble or two disappear. But the problem is, we really need to turn to our finance committee and ask for their recommendations and see how to make it work. Rather than just saying, well, let's just take it out of reserves, because sooner or later reserves are gonna be gone. Even though it's $1
That's a
million.
fair assessment, and
I just want to chime in that we didn't actually shell game the money in the previous years. When we saved money on trees and other expenses that were avoided in the budget, whether or not that was prudent, we actually increased contributions to reserves well above historical levels. So it's not quite that we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. We've actually increased reserves quite a bit. And members of the finance committee, including Jim Grunza, have repeatedly suggested we pay down our loan, which I don't agree with. Paying down our loan would be a $700,000 to $1 million expenditure. But if we've got 700 or $1 million to pay down a loan, we could pay some trees and we could pay an admin assistant. So the funds are there. It's just a question of, I totally agree with the zero-based budgeting, but I don't think it's worth fighting about right now.
Let me share with you. You had a board 2 years ago that spent 602,000 of reserves that it took 20 years to build because they didn't use the loan proceeds for the clubhouse. We got the proceeds thanks to Tim's efforts with Valley Bank. We got the money released. We're not putting it back in reserves. We're not replenishing that 602,000 it took 12 years to get. So we're in a $600,000 deficit. We have to spend the 602 and earmark it for construction projects, which we are, and we've spent majority of it. It's already earmarked for different activities. That's why I did that flow sheet to show, okay, where are we taking the money from to pay for Fidel pickleball, to pay for the clubhouse parking lot. So the idea that we have the money to steal, we don't. You're $600,000 in the hole.
Okay, let's
We certainly don't have the
We'll-
money to steal, but I totally disagree with that characterization, and we could talk about that another time.
Yeah,
Just to recap really quick, not talking about the money portion of this, this is just the obviousness of the need for the position. This was already identified prior to us determining what the exit strategy was going to be with Flo's comfort level. This was already decided upon. What we're doing now is we're activating something that was already decided on in the process. We already knew that when we hired Ro and we made the transition to Campbell and we presented Flo with her package, we already knew that this admin position was going to be here. What we have to do, like you said, you're right. We need to fine tune it. What are the hours? And then we can lean to the finance committee to say, what can we feasibly look at hiring them for? And then we coordinate again with the team with Campbell and we pull their resources and we get their recommendations and then we can go from there.
I don't think it has to be a full-time position right now, but I do think someone we are going to need someone to step in when Flo is not here
The
every
only
day.
way we can not have an admin assistant is if everyone in the community agrees to never come to the office with a need. So I don't see that ever happening in this community
That's
based
the
on the
only reason.
revolving door. Honestly, it's a revolving door. And you know what? I love that because that's what Boca Bath and Tennis is all about. We are a community that supports one another. We engage with one another and we're realizing the need, especially now that the clubhouse is booming. The, racket sports are booming. Kids are coming and going through here. It's a need. So we just have to figure out how to do it. And
Can
I
I
think we
just throw
can.
out a question?
Yeah.
And it's only a question, that's it. And that is, my concern is if you have the perfect person who comes along, what do we do? And it could happen as soon as we put the word out. I don't know.
Well, we're not going to put the cart before the horse. We're going to make sure
That's
that
what I'm
we,
saying. Yeah.
how do I explain it? We make sure that we go in the right order, right? We already identify the position, the need. We're not gonna just throw it out there and randomly, hire somebody on a whim.
No, but you ask for resumes for people, you're gonna start gathering resumes.
Well, isn't that because, correct me if I'm wrong.
Worst case, we get a
because-
resume and we don't hire someone. We could always
Right,
discuss
we
it
don't
later.
have to interview people. We just want to see what it looks, what are we looking at out there?
Jim Grunza has his hand up.
Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
Let me get the timer on.
Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, basically, I want to comment on what David said. I recommend, for example, we're talking about selling the lot. And if we sell the lot, my suggestion was using that money, okay, to pay down the debt. That would give us a couple $100,000 that we wouldn't have to pay in interest. Now, once the loans are paid off, we're not going to say give everybody $1,000 back in their yearly assessments. That money is going to keep coming in. That money can then be directly put into reserves. So the bottom line, I'm not suggesting we pay off those loans now. I suggested that we pay off the loans when we sell the lot. And that gives us all of the interest money we don't have to pay. That's a couple $100,000.
Jim, I'm sorry. Yeah, hang on. We're moving away from administrative assistant position. That's like a different topic that we're not gonna get into that right now. I understand that's a whole nother side topic for another day. So yes, that can be discussed down the road, what to do with that. I think people are under the impression we're in like some kind of massive debt with our loans, which we're not, which is just completely false and inaccurate. What's the percent on it? Like 3%. I mean, you can't find a loan like that at all today, ever, never again. Like we will never be able to get a 3.8% loan. It would be that would just be it would be so irresponsible of us to use cash for 3.8%. It just would be extremely irresponsible. So that I just completely disagree with, and I don't want to get into it at this point because that's not what we were discussing. We were discussing administrative assistant position. So, but thank you. New business. Board Advisory Committee, remit and assignment review. I'm going to let David take this one.
Yeah, sure. So we've been discussing different ways, same rationale as the administrative assistant. We have functioning committees in some areas. Some are less functional. We have some members that contribute. We have some that are less productive. And we basically want to get more people involved and get some new blood on some of these committees. So I think just taking a moment to clarify, first to clarify the committees and what their remit are. Of course, any resident is welcome to contribute input as an individual member of the community, but we think the committees should have a clear kind of role description, membership, and communication channels. Just to clarify for everyone, these committees are advisory only. They're not fiduciaries of the neighborhood. They require board authorization before acting on behalf of the association. There's been some discussion about committees having chairpersons. No committee has a chairperson. They have a liaison who will report to the board at these meetings, and each committee can designate one of its committee members to provide those updates or reports in the liaison function. And at any time, the board can kind of amend or expand or revise the membership of these committees. But currently, we have the ARB, and its role is described by our governing documents. Mark's done a great job helping to lead the digitization for that, which I know we're all very grateful. We used to have a
Very
legal
nice.
and risk committee. We want to reconstitute that. It's been acting informally, but we want to make it formal. We have a finance committee. We want to clarify some of the remit. Social committee we've discussed. Greens committee exists, and tennis committee exists and is functioning well. So I have a longer motion. And I can copy the text of it. I just sent it to Brittany, but so Ro, you don't have to write all this down, but I move that the board reconstitute the following advisory committees with members serving at the pleasure of the board. The Architectural Review Board to perform the role set forth in the association's governing documents. The members will be Mark Anderson, Craig Watts, Jeanette Lehman, Pawan Reddy. The Legal and Risk Committee to advise on ongoing legal matters, contract questions, and other risk and liability issues. The members will be David Monero, Tim Carey, Chaz Averbrook. The Finance Committee to provide financial review and recommendations on board requested financial matters and accounting matters and audit related matters. The members, Mark Anderson, Ryan DeMoro, Jim Grunza. The Social Committee to arrange community social events and assist the board with event planning and vendor coordination. The members, Lorraine Testani, Kristen Stevenson, Joy Niskern, Kristen Adams. And then the Greens Committee to advise on landscaping and tree-related issues. The current membership will stand unless it's later amended by the board. And the Tennis Committee to work with the tennis director for the betterment of the association's reinvigorated and growing racket sports program. Anyone's welcome to attend the tennis committee meetings and contribute, and the current membership shall stand unless amended by the board. As a reminder, all committees are advisory only and should stay within their respective remits. And that's the end of the motion. I have one more comment about why it's important that communication with vendors that are currently contracted remain between the board and the vendors. Having too many cooks in the kitchen is just way too difficult for us and for our vendors to deal with.
I second. Okay, in discussion?
Only discussion I would have isn't really discussion, it's just a recommendation that we make a recap of this and maybe just send in some kind of a
Yeah,
message
we'll send an email out with the
so that everybody that's on a committee is aware because I
committee
don't-
members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah,
only
folks,
recommendation.
someone's requested that it be on the website repeatedly. I don't know if it has made its way there since the Campbell transition, but I know this was a Hawkeye request all the time. And so we should post those committee members and people should know the committees exist. And that way we'll have new blood and new participation as these committees eventually turn over.
Hey, David, can you go over the section again about, and I'm going to use the term contracts. Can you read that section again? I missed that part. Near the end of your motion.
Oh, that wasn't actually part of the motion. That was just me ad-libbing at the end. But basically, I was saying that I think that board members should be the ones that are communicating directly with vendors rather than committee members, unless the board votes later to do that. We've had way too many situations where committee members or interested residents get in touch with a vendor, and it just these vendors are hard enough to deal with. They have terrible project management, no matter who they are, and it's simply too difficult, even if they're a good vendor. And so I really strongly believe we need to corral that communication.
Thank you. 100% agree.
Jim has his hand up.
Jim?
Go ahead, Jim.
Timer now.
Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, David, you kind of indicated that I thought there were more people on some of these committees than you mentioned. Are you suggesting that the people that are currently on the ARB are not going to continue being on the ARB, and the people that are currently on the Finance Committee are not going to continue being on the Finance Committee? Did you truncate them to 3 people each for each one of the committees?
They're not 3 people each. There's not a strict limit. We tried on some of them to keep them to about 3 people because it seems like a helpful number. But I guess I'm not quite sure what you're asking. I think the people that we nominated are the current or the reconstituted committee members, if that's what you're asking.
Well, for example, I thought we always had like 5 people on the ARB.
We
And
currently
what-
have 4, I believe, but we don't have. I think we're always looking for more volunteers for the ARB, but I think we've hovered between 3 and 6 for the past few years.
Do you know what 3 people did you name for the ARB?
I think I
We have
named
4.
4.
4 people
Mark
for the ARB.
Anderson, Craig Watts, Jeanette Lehman, and Pawan Reddy.
Isn't Trunzo on the ARB since he's the only architect we have in the homeowners association?
I'm not sure if he currently is, but he is not now.
I see. When were you going to tell Jim that?
I think we just discussed that. We were going to send an email and post on the website per many people's repeated requests, including yours.
And by the way, on the finance committee, I thought we had Mark, myself, Ryan, and Timmy, and there was another one. Who else was there? There were 5. Yeah. Okay.
Tim Carey's on the finance committee. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. The board can reconsider that at a later date. I think he's focused on Padel right now, but
Yeah.
if so, he's no longer on the committee.
Yeah, he's very busy. Yeah, it'll just be the 3 that he mentioned, which is Mark, Ryan, and you.
Discussion.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, I second. We'll put it to a vote. George?
I kind of would like to see everything in writing. There were so many names that were thrown out.
Okay, they are, well, we're pretty much just, it's the
I'll put
committee, it's
I'll
just
put it in the
reassigning.
chat of the Zoom if it's helpful.
It's which committee you were involved in, or which any specific committee?
It's just so much all of a sudden that was
Yeah.
told out.
Lance, it'd be Ryan tomorrow, Jim Frenza, and myself.
I guess I'm not necessarily opposed, but I would probably go with a no vote and be neutral on that instead.
You can abstain.
Or abstain. There you go.
Right.
Okay. Mark?
I actually abstained since I'm on 2 of those committees, so.
Okay. Well, I vote yes because I seconded it.
I vote
Kristen
yes.
Adams?
I am in favor, yes.
Kristen Stevenson?
I vote yes.
Brocky, are you still on?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me? Oh, I see.
Yes,
I'm-
we can.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was on mute before and I really wanted to say something, but I had myself on mute because I've been coughing. So
Sorry, go ahead.
I missed my opportunity to talk about the discussion about looking for somebody to help be the
Oh.
administrative assistant.
Brocky.
Well, I'll go back to,
Brocky,
I'll
can you do me
skip
a
that.
favor?
We can come back to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Right now.
Yeah, no
so that-
problem. And so my
Yes.
question for the committee is the people that David mentioned for each committee, does it have to stay with that? Because I would like to get involved with the social committee, but I don't have Facebook, so I didn't know there were meetings happening. As Kristen had mentioned earlier, hey, I'm involved in lots of things and I didn't even know about this, so I didn't know about this. If I agree and vote yes, does that mean we're limited to the number of people that David mentioned, or can anybody still get involved? Because he did say that
Anyone who comes and says that anyone who wants, first of all, board members a little bit different, so you can certainly contribute. But anyone who wants to participate in a committee can let us know, and we will consider amending the membership of it. If you're saying you want to be on the social committee, we can amend the motion right now.
Okay, great. I just wanted to know what I was agreeing to exactly before I gave my vote. So
Yeah, it's not like a cap or a minimum. It's just, this is the current membership. This is the remit as a reminder for everyone. Hopefully it encourages further participation and provides clarity on who's on what committee. And, we can move forward productively with those committees from there.
Sounds great.
I also think that, Brocky, I also think the social committee is a little bit unique compared to the other ones, because the social committee is one committee, but they have multiple events throughout the year. So you can always, jump in, jump out for all those different events. I think the social committee is going to function a little bit differently than the other one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That
And I'll
sounds
just
great.
add, you can participate with a committee, not being a member
Right.
or a liaison.
There you go.
We still need help.
We can be
Right.
worker
Even
bees.
You got
better.
300 people. That's-
Right, yes.
Even
Thank you,
even
Brocky.
better. Yes, like I
Was
said, I
that-
just wanted clarification on what exactly I was voting for, if you were still allowed to participate or if we're capping off or,
Yes.
too many cooks. So thanks for that,
Yes.
for explaining, and I vote yes.
So are you voting in favor of or not in favor of?
We're saying.
In favor of,
Okay, super. And then
Okay.
David.
Aye.
He said the motion. David's
Perfect,
yes.
just making sure.
Okay.
Have to ask.
Oh, thanks, Secretary.
So that's 5 votes and 2 abstentions, correct?
Yes,
yes.
so I'm assuming motion passes.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, thanks, David. I appreciate that. Well, since you all loved my administrative assistant position, you're gonna love my next new business. Just gonna jump right on in there on that one.
When the Shenders come back, we'll just have a wine tasting.
Yeah, we're all gonna have a giant wine tasting for this. Okay, so, I know we had discussed a maintenance person, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting away from that. In regards to the, again, we do need a maintenance person. We will work on that for next year's budget, where that is not as eminent, I think, as the assistant position, because we are able to manage with hiring, a handyman to come in as needed when things happen. We've outsourced things like pressure washing, which I really hate to outsource that 'cause it's expensive, but we are kind of outsourcing those things. Electrical, if we have electrical issues. We had a plumbing issue at the guardhouse, we were able to get that resolved. So the maintenance position in general, yes, we are going to need it for next year and moving forward. The clubhouse is getting used a lot. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into it. Again, as long as you can maintain things, yes, it costs money up front, but in the long run, you are saving money down the road. However, what we are faced against right now is so in regards to what we had agreed upon with Jem and Etienne is that we were trying to give Etienne as many hours as we could from, to keep him around, to keep him working for us. Part of that agreement was that Etienne was going to come meet Ro every morning at 8:30, and from 8:30 to 10 for an hour and a half, he was going to do basic janitorial work around the clubhouse. Our garbage cans need to be taken out by someone. Our chairs need to be arranged. Our cabanas sometimes are left open. They need to be pulled back due to the wind. Our bathrooms need to be cleaned on a daily basis. The toilets, sinks need to be wiped down. Kitchen area needs to be maintained. And so Etienne was supposed to be coming in and doing that. That is not working out right now. He is not being consistent. He's not doing it. We are finding ourselves without the bathrooms cleaned, without the garbage cans being taken out. So in an effort, I'm going to talk to Jem about that, getting that hour and a half back from his contract, but that's something we're going to have to deal with because it's already agreed upon at this point. But we need someone to come in once a day for an hour to 2 hours and do basic janitorial work around the clubhouse and around the grounds, cleaning out the doggy poop bags. There's a lot of little stuff that goes into basic maintenance or general janitorial service. So Ro has gotten a quote from Interclean, who we currently use to clean the clubhouse. They come in and they clean once a week. They do a cleaning of the clubhouse. They do, and they also come in after every single party and they clean after every single party. That's part of the rental agreement.
We upped the rental to encompass that, yes.
Yeah, so that's part of the rental agreement that, and so anyway, that again, which requires coordination. Someone has to coordinate that for them to come in. But anyway, so she's reached out to Interclean, who we're already using and we're already paying. And she has at the back here posted for it's, we actually have two options, right? Ro, there's two options here.
Interclean is a 2-hour minimum per day, so that's why.
Okay, so it looks like to me, Interclean is 40 hours per month. It's a 2-hour minimum per day. That they would come in and they're going to provide all the cleaning supplies. We don't have to worry about that. We've already provided the paper goods, the hand soaps and the liners. All of that's provided through Cintas, so that's already taken care of. And so they're gonna come in and basically do all of this that we're looking for. Okay, I was just reading that to over. So that is for $950 a month that they would come in and provide us that general janitorial service. And then the other option is this is for $871 bi-weekly, which I think is going to be way too expensive for us.
Oh,
So it's $1742 per month if we were to have someone come in, and this is through Campbell. Someone through Campbell to come in and kind of do the same janitorial services. It would be 30 hours per month, so it'd be 10 hours less, and it would be more at $1742.40 per month. So I would like to go with Interclean. I would like to add Interclean to the schedule. I can talk to them. They come already on Wednesdays to clean. We can talk to them about including, maybe they can include that already cleaning in this service so we can save on that, what we're already paying for that cleaning. So we'll get that money back, which I think is, do you know what that is weekly, Ro, what we're paying them weekly? It's at least $100 a week, I would say. It's $150 a cleaning service, I would imagine. I think they charge us $140 when they come to clean the clubhouse after parties, I think. So yeah, we'll talk to them about including that into the 40-hour monthly fee that we are going to be charged with them. And then I'm going to talk to Jen about getting the money back from Etienne, because that needs to be done as well, because we're paying him for something he's not doing, unless he's willing to do something else for us, which I don't see that happening. It's just not working out. So I would like to
make a motion.
Yes, I would like to make a motion. I just wanted to give you guys both options before I went ahead and made the motion. I just wanted to explain myself. I want to make a motion to bring Interclean on for 40 hours per month at the cost of $950 a month, or not to exceed the cost of $950 a month. And I would, 2 hours per day minimum, Monday through Friday. And this would be, just to be very clear, this is, I don't know if this has to be part of the motion or not, but this is not going to be included. This is not like part of the clubhouse cleaning when there's a rental. This is separate to that. So just so we're completely clear on that.
And renegotiating Jim's contract.
Renegotiating Jim's contract and renegotiating the current Interclean contract with including that one cleaning service being done during this 40 hours a week.
This is good.
Okay. Thank you, George.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Discussion?
Two things for me. The first one is thank you for putting this together, because it's really necessary. I don't know if anybody ever comes in here Monday through Friday after we have tennis. On days when we're in season, we're responsible for hosting lunches. And when you get, two teams of women who've just come off the courts, even when you clean your shoes, it's almost impossible to not track play. So just that, and then having the lunches and, the daily wear and tear. This to me is a very small investment to preserve the clubhouse and to maintain it, so that when we, do have events, it just, overall, it's very helpful. Only question I wanted to have, it ties into the rentals, and I only thought of this because Lorraine mentioned that someone wanted to have something that was with a charity event, which we are allowing them to do free of charge. They do have to put up a deposit. But are they gonna be responsible for the cleaning fee?
Yeah, we should have to do that.
They should be.
We should.
Yeah, so that's something that we would have to revise.
Well, we're working on that.
Well, that's one reason I brought it up, because it's coming up, so we'll add that on there.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect. Okay,
David, sorry, did you have something to say?
No, I was just agreeing.
Okay, thank you. I think Mark has some.
Mark.
I am super excited about this motion because
Mark.
yeah, we have half hours for capture $20 an hour, $600 a month, which offsets your $950 a month. My question would be exactly to Kristen's point about, do we know what time of day the 2 hours is going to be? Because if you're having a lunch, they're coming in the afternoon, they come first thing in the morning.
I can make the
I'm thinking
recommendation.
later in the day if possible, just because of the fact that you want trash taken out like at the end of the day.
Right.
You don't want to just sit there overnight and they could be picked up the next morning.
Well, during the summer camp, they came in today right before the meeting, which was so nice because this place is really bad.
I have found Interclaim to be
then-
very accommodating.
They
So
are.
I honestly feel like if we called and we were like, on
Yeah.
Monday, we need 10 to 12,
Exactly.
and Wednesday, we need whatever.
I think you may have already answered the question. My question is, I don't know the weekend cleaning when there's clubhouse rentals. Is it interclean or are we using somebody else?
It's all interclean.
Because I was gonna say, can we change it from Monday to Friday to be Tuesday to Saturday or something like that, knowing that we have other activities? Or at this price, maybe
Add
6 days a
Saturday.
week. You know, why stop at 5? And
Right.
I don't know how much activity we have on the weekends, how much mass there is.
So
Do we have a job description? You know, is there a list of what we want them to do versus just show up and clean? We have an issue. We're person.
They're awesome.
Okay.
They're really good. But
Person self-sufficient.
like you
Yeah.
had said about private events, you have to hire them to clean. So when people rent the clubhouse.
Okay, so it's part of that.
Yes,
Interclean is part of it. Yeah, the only question I have is when, if
Baked in.
it's a charitable event,
Yes.
they just have to cover the cost of the cleaning and that's it. So that's.
Yeah, I think, and we can, let's see how it goes. And if it
Right.
goes great and we think we need to add a date, we'll ratify the motion down the road and we'll add a date, but
I'm in favor of that if it goes that direction.
yeah, I think, I mean, for this price, like, I don't know how. I
4
don't know.
hours for less month, half the month.
Don't know how
Right,
they're
and I
going
think,
to.
like Mark said, the shift of finances, it's
Yeah.
kind of a no-brainer.
I'll take care of working out that and we can ratify that motion at the next meeting after I talk to Jen about that. Okay, so sending it to vote, George.
Who seconded that?
Oh, George seconded it.
George.
Yes.
Yes.
Mark. Brittany, yes. Kristen Adams. Kristen Stevenson.
Yes.
Broccoli,
Uh,
broccoli, yes.
David and Brocky.
And Brocky.
Yes, unanimous. Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. All right. Mark is going to handle the ratification of Padel basketball court, and then we'll do party rules real quick and get us out of here. Let's hope we can do it in 20 minutes.
Record speed. Record speed.
So I'm making a motion to ratify the sports services contract dated 8/19/25, signed by then President, in the amount of $244,930. Short and sweet.
I'll second that.
Yep.
He beat you to it.
I did. I gotcha.
Got me.
Okay.
Now, let me share why I'm making the motion.
Yes.
I
Discussion.
know there may be some perceptions I'm against this, and I'm not. I spent a lot of time with ChatGPT and reading statutes and things. The interesting part is, so what I've learned is the minute that we paid the deposit, that was an automatic ratification of the contract, regardless of motions and approvals prior to that point. So this is a formal process. Not that we even had to do it, but I felt like it was necessary. So that's my primary reason for making the motion. It's not, we're in bed with these guys. Number 2, and I'm sorry, David, I'm gonna go off path here a little bit, but as I read through the contract, we have no completion date in the contract, which means we also have no penalties in the contract. So we're kind of here for the duration with these guys. Brittany and I have spent a lot of time, inordinate time with these guys, trying to communicate. Tim's been trying to communicate for 9-10 months. So I'm doing a weekly schedule. Brittany has offered to take ownership of and lead on this. We've asked him, I think you've asked him, to just focus on help us get this permit, get it through the permitting process.
Yeah.
And David, I think mentioned earlier, is this the perfect vendor? We're learning maybe it's not, but we have a contract with it. The last major issue in the contract, there's a terms and conditions link. When you click on that, this gets even uglier, guys. There's an Article 6 section or Section 6, Article D, that reads contractors lost profit on the unperformed portion of the work as reasonably anticipated at the time of contract execution. I read that as if we tried to terminate the contract, they get to name what their profit should have been.
Yeah, that's in the event of a termination for convenience
Right.
rather than a breach for cause situation. So at the end of the day, if we want to change from them, we're going to have to argue with them and do our typical song and dance. But
Right.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm not
They could
particularly.
say it's 122,000 was the anticipated profit and make an argument to keep all the money. So it's a no-win situation at this point. We're in bed with these guys. Tim is taking the lead. And maybe you earlier heard that we did do a change order and we got them to document it, Tim signing it. And we got $7,500 back for eliminating lighting, not necessarily backwards, but removing lighting. I'd love to go back and hit them with, hey, Tim did all the permitting work. In our contract, I think there's 6,000 for permitting. Let's go do a change order and capture some or all that back. We can ask. But
yeah, I think
they have a new appreciation that we're really paying attention now. So.
Yeah, I think where we're at right now is it is imperative. We are at the, we're at the 90-yard line in a football, or 10-yard line, or the 10-yard line.
What field are you playing?
I'm a sports fan and I'm struggling today. We're at the 10-yard line and we're in the red zone and we're there. Like, we are there. We just need to get this ball past that goal line and we are so close. And I just want to I'm thinking of 90. We've gone 90 yards is what I feel like it. Poor Tim feels like it, but Tim is working very hard to get us there. So, we are going to get through this permitting process. That is a fact. That is what is going to happen. We would very much appreciate the support of the community and the residents in doing that. And then we are very hopeful that once this permitting process is approved, the amount of hours that has gone into it is just unbelievable. So once it's approved, we will see very quick progress. That is what we are anticipating. That is what we are being told. Ground is ready to be broken. We just need the yes to go ahead and break the ground. So that's sort of where we're at. And then,
Is it okay, Matt?
Absolutely. Jump on in. Yes, sir.
Real quick. Because first of all, Craig Watts and my wife Jenny and I have been in here for 26 years. This is only the third time I've been to a board meeting. But I came just to better understand what happened. But I want to first, before I ask a couple of questions, I just want to say how much that Jenny and I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
So much. I'm in a lot of leadership positions in the church. And obviously you all get paid about as much as I do, right?
That's right.
Okay, so I understand that many times it's a thankless job, and particularly as president. So we just cannot thank you all enough, particularly for what the board in the last couple of years has done to get closure on something that I didn't think I was going to live to see.
Thank you. Or myself.
Yeah. I'm a lot closer to heaven than you are.
Well,
I don't think I'm better. I just a whole lot.
One day.
Well said, Craig.
So now with that, I heard, and I don't know if it's right, but I heard some of what you just said. Well, I heard it when you said, but I don't know what you. Did we actually pay a 50% deposit?
Yes.
And
we did.
And what is the background and why? I've never, I'm involved with a few construction projects in my business career, and we built our house here in Boca, but I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that has been a topic of much discussion amongst board members and finance committee. That has not gone unnoticed and unrecognized. I personally can't speak to that because I wasn't president at the time when that happened. But I can most definitely get Tim to answer that question for you, what Board Services was requiring and asking at the time of the signature and of the deposit. And so we can, circle back on that, but I definitely, Mark, if you can elaborate.
The boilerplate language in this contract said 50%. I actually did review one of the other bids and they wanted 40% deposit. So I guess in the industry of building surfaces and courts, they asked for huge deposits. I did ask the COO, no, I'm sorry, I asked the project manager, like, what is this money for? She said it's for permit and for materials. And that day I threatened to drive to West Palm Beach and say, show me my materials. I also said, give us some money back.
I'm sure they haven't.
After she said, well, Mark, come on, that's not realistic. I said, well, then just give us our money back since you haven't spent it. And that didn't go over well.
I'm sure they haven't spent $1 for it if we're not.
If they're not doing the permits.
Hasn't Tim Curry been working on the permits?
No.
Yes, he has substantially.
But
So-
you all, and I heard what you said, Brittany, and thank you. I don't want to, beat it to death. It's happened. What my questions are about is, what have we learned from this? Because
A lot.
I hope that, that we've learned that even if they have it in the boilerplate, we all have negotiated contracts.
Yes, I think
Okay.
we've learned, I think we've learned a lot. I think unfortunately, as all of us, including myself on my own personal project, it's rainbows and butterflies in the beginning of all projects. You're trying to solicit, business and bids, and you're trying to gain that business, and what looks like, the honeypot at the end of the rainbow ends up, once you get into it and you put, kind of put your money down, and then all of a sudden it's like not the honeypot that you had bought yourself into. And
I hear what you're saying. I mean, but when that honeymoon, when everybody's getting courted or being courted, that's when you have the leverage to negotiate a 50% deposit.
absolutely.
And given that we signed a contract with a 50% deposit, where are the performance clauses? You just said, I know you weren't a part of it, but you just said that we don't even have a to be completed date.
Fortunately.
Do we have any other performance clauses in there that we can hold them to meeting the specifications that we gave them in our RFP? I just never.
So I think
anything like this.
Yeah, I think
I'm hearing.
I think what's really difficult with a lot of this, and again, this is a little bit out of my own wheelhouse, but I think what's really difficult is permitting. And permitting makes things extremely difficult to put a timeline on. And so you can say, we want this completed within 3 months, or we want this completed within 6 months. And it's not, I want people to understand, this isn't just like a permit because I'm changing out, a plumbing item in my home. That's environmental, it's engineering permits, it's design permits, so there's multi-facets to how it's going. And so, listen, you and we're on the same page.
At the end of the day, we should have better procurement practice. We shouldn't give
Yes.
50% deposit if we have the ability to do so. And we should have a clearer contractual review process. That's why we reestablished the legal and risk committee so that these types of contracts can get review. I don't think the answer is paying Sachs Kaplan to do some crappy markup that doesn't achieve these things and isn't necessary. But I think having proper practices that avoid this, genuinely, I spoke to the other, I wasn't dealing with this contract, but I did participate in soliciting the bids and calling references and doing physical site visits to jobs that they had performed in other neighborhoods. And the feedback was all very positive. The other vendors wanted, I think, 40 and another one wanted 50%. Maybe competitive pressure could have gotten them down. But at the time this contract was signed, these vendors are fairly arrogant. They just say, that's what we get, take it or leave it. We'd negotiated the price down quite a bit as well, and the scope changes. And I don't know that we would have done much better than that. But like you said, the contract should have been better. It should have said, completion within 6 months from the time of issuance of permit. These particular milestones, those points are all well taken.
Thank you, David. Let me, I have 2 other quick things, and then I'll get out of y'all's hair.
No, you're
so y'all
good.
can accomplish that and go time frame. Just out of all due respect, Brittany.
I hear you.
So I just give you, permitting is not from my perspective, an acceptable excuse, because you, in the contract, you put a target timeframe from date of approved permit, so you eliminate that variable.
Right.
We built our house, I had my best friend as our builder. He had built Johnny Williams' house across the street. He ended up building the wine pearls after he built ours. So he and I were best friends before. We're best friends today. But I had a 12-month complete contract. We wanted our CO within 12 months. He got it within 11 because I had a performance clause with my best friend.
Right.
So, I mean,
I'm not contesting in any way 100%. We agree.
And permitting, if you eliminate that variable for the performance.
Yes.
In completion, then both parties are protected. And one last thing, shoot David's motion that he made everybody approve. I love that because my last question is, up till now, was our legal review, did we rely on board members that are sitting on the board that have legal expertise, or did we rely on outside independent counsel? And if it was a combination of the two, what were the criteria to determine this may be something that we want to pay extra money for rather than rely on in-house counsel, meaning in-house board members?
Yeah, it's a combination.
It was
of
poorly
both.
managed and there wasn't a particular process for it, Craig, that was concrete, basically, is the
Okay,
answer.
that's all I needed here. I just want us to learn.
Yeah.
This doesn't, it seemed different from my perception of what has been going on with the board of the last 2 years. I just feel like this has some opportunity for improvement.
I'll share it, Craig, just because Rick and I were on the call. The one thing we absolutely have learned is if we're going to do small projects, large projects, anything over 5,000, as we talk about frequently, we've got to have specific guidelines. If I said, build me this table, and I said, just build me a table, great. And if I didn't give you the specs, you build me a coffee table when I went to the boardroom table. Shame on me for not giving the specs. Right. So I can tell you, you can't change the past. Going forward, though.
That's all. That's my question.
But we have a lot of expertise in the neighborhood. We've talked about, we've got engineers and we've got attorneys and people that can help us with different points of negotiations, whether it's specs, whether it's, literally to answer your question, one of the comments that the COO made, he said, you don't do a bid like this. You get an engineer to draw it. What you want, you give us the specs, and then we bid on the specs. He said, you're asked to come here.
So it's an apple to apple comparison.
We have one.
Right. So,
We have one hand raised.
okay.
Before we go to the hand raise, I want to share this. I wanted you to hear. It's very brief, just to give a little bit of peace of mind. As you know, we did an indoor basketball court with our home renovation and expansion.
So jealous.
You're gonna come shoot hoops anytime. You know that you're always welcome. But with that said, one of the things that my husband and I did before we finalized the plans, we went to this particular location. We did go in person and visit it. So I'm not vouching for anyone or anything other than saying that they are a legitimate company, they are a legitimate operation. And at least we can have some peace of mind to know that they'll get it done. I've seen work that they've done on other projects, like David said. So I just want to give that little added piece.
That is helpful. Again, please, I'm not throwing.
Craig, you are one of my favorite people. You and Jenny, I adore both of you. Well, I do it.
I just made a real good decision to propose.
Oh, you sure did. You made a fantastic decision.
She said yes.
And plan and sinker. And we go to sing church together. You are the most amazing greeters on Sundays. So I appreciate your feedback. We 100% want the community and you, and we want reassurance that yes, we've learned. And unfortunately, we are volunteers. We're not perfect. We were dealt a very crappy hand of cards with our prior property management company. Like, it just is what it is. And we didn't have the guidance that we deserved. And I know we continue to blame them. And I get that. Like, I'm sure people are tired of hearing that. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not in finance. Thank God Mark is, and I can rely on him. I'm volunteered because I want to change my community and I want to do what's right for my community and better my community.
And we appreciate you caring.
Yeah, but that's like, we're volunteers, and so it's we're only as good as we are, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But thank you for your feedback.
One last thing, about Friday. This Friday, 2 days from now, you all say a prayer for her because she will have been married to me for 50 years.
Wow.
Congrats.
You all want to leave a sympathy card.
And the outliners too.
We will.
I heard Mark's gonna get you a butt cake.
Yes, I get the butt cake.
That's
You guys need to share it.
Yes.
Thanks, Craig.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah, Jim.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jim.
Mark was talking about the link on the contract, and I clicked on the link and I found out that the T's and C's were 19 pages, and one of the sections in that the T's and C's was the fact that there's a termination for clause section that we can go ahead and terminate our relationship with our current supplier, Sports Services, and that means, as you know, I've been kind of I've been pro getting a Category 5 padel court, so we don't have to worry about taking down the glass, which these glass panels are 200 kilograms or 440 pounds a piece. So it's going to cost us a lot of money to take them down. If we have a Cat 5 padel court, you don't have to do this. And there's
Sorry to interrupt you, Jim, but you have to take them down even if they're Cat 5 glass. That was the guidance from all the companies.
Well, according to the United States Padel Association, you don't have to take them down if you adhere to their specifications.
Jim, we will get into this at a later date, with the glass. It's something Mark and I discussed extensively on the call last week with them. I'm in favor of the stronger glass. I'm not in favor of that. And I think the regulation is going to move towards that in 27. But with that said, just we are going to talk about that at a later date when we get to that point in this process. But just so everyone is well aware, that glass does break. And that glass, it's not that it doesn't crack, it doesn't shatter. And it's not tempered glass, so it won't shatter all over the floor, but it still will break in a hurricane. It still will crack, and it still will need to be replaced at the cost that they do cost per panel. So it's not hurricane proof, and it's definitely hurricane resistant in that it won't shatter all over the floor like a tempered glass will. But just like hurricane windows, if something hits it hard enough, I mean, honestly, I'll give the example I've been giving everyone. I bought a brand new hurricane slider. It had hurricane glass in it. My 5-year-old son took a rock with a slingshot, hit it right into the hurricane glass, and it cracked straight from the top and straight to the bottom within 2 weeks of putting it in, installing it. And I called the company and said, there's something wrong with this glass. And they said, there's nothing wrong with the glass because it didn't shatter all over your patio. It can crack, it just won't shatter and break through. So we need to discuss this far more in depth. It can't be done tonight, just because, yes, we agree. It is a great option. I'm not sure tempered glass is the way to go, especially with kids in the neighborhood. But we all do have to understand that that glass too can be broken and will be needed to be replaced at the cost of what that glass costs, which is much more than the tempered glass. So,
okay, I have another question. What is the price of taking it down and putting it back up? That was one of the 4 questions that I posed to you, Brittany, to ask Sports Services. Have you got a response back
Jim,
yet?
I can answer that. So we took your list of questions, very, very well thought out, and we proposed and asked every single one that you brought up. So we're still waiting for, well, let me back up a little bit. I'll be the doomsdayer that says any construction project never finishes on time and never finishes on budget. Do I think that this budget's going to end up at 244,000? No, I would be surprised if this is below 300,000 when we're all said and done. The taking down and setting up, we're waiting for them to give us a price. Think about hurricane season. Do you take it down when we know a named storm's coming? And then do you set it up until the next named storm, or you just leave it down for the rest of the season? These are all things that the board and finance committee and everybody are gonna have to take into account. It's gonna be expensive because they have to disassemble. It's only the framework that's rated for 130 miles an hour.
The
No,
frame
that's
is what
not.
stays up. The rest of it comes down. They lay the glass on the concrete. They have a method that they use. They cover the glass. They add sandbags on top of it for weight distribution.
They say it
do-
takes 2 to 3 hours. Addison Reserve and Boca Grove have procedures. We talked to their tennis pros
Yeah.
about it. I don't have the exact number, Jim Grunza, at the top of my head, but I know you've reviewed the May, June, July 2025 and August 2025 meetings. Tim spoke to them about it at the time of sale because you actually raised this question then, and it was answered then as well. I'm sure you could find it in the transcript.
Yeah, there's
They
no
do have a-
information on the cost, though. That's the issue.
I
We're
believe
gonna
there
find out.
was, but I'll ask Tim and see if he
We'll
has.
work on.
We don't have that answer. That's one of the pending things.
Process. We're in the process. The response time with them is not, it's not quick. So
It's better. We're doing again, Jim, and I've talked to you separately. We're gonna do a weekly monitoring of this process until we're done.
yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and George.
A quick thought, with regards to that, you brought up an interesting point, and that is with hurricane season. We've all lived through hurricane season, but I lived through hurricane season in the Keys. One of the problems that I can anticipate is that if we're getting a named storm nearby, we're gonna have a hard time getting people out here to take care of the work because they're gonna be busy elsewhere. That's a concern. We want to make sure that that's built into our contract, that they're gonna come if that's what we're gonna do. The other question is, are people really gonna use this at the height of summer when we have really hot weather? And if so, would it be more prudent to take it down at the beginning of hurricane season and put it back up when the weather starts cooling off?
I mean, unfortunately,
Hurricane season's half the year, so I think we're gonna have to keep.
I understand that.
Yeah,
Right?
it's tough, but I.
Recent part is church, people playing tennis. There was a
Yeah.
heat index of 105, 100.
Yeah,
I was one of those lunatics today. I feel like I'm still sweating.
Fortunately, we have a lot of time till we get to that point, and when we do, I cannot wait till we can have that discussion. Because that means we'll have a Padel course.
Concern, that's all.
But yeah, we most definitely can address that when the time comes, and it probably won't even be us
Might not
on the
be an
board
issue,
that deals with that. It'll be a different board that will
We'll get the options in order.
when it comes up and when it
Somebody
comes.
might be.
Well, yeah, I won't be here.
Thanks a lot.
So, okay, so let's go ahead and get this taken care of. So Mark made the motion. I seconded the motion. George, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay. Mark, Brittany, yay. Kristen?
Yes.
Kristen Stevenson? If she's still on?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, guys. Yes,
Okay.
my vote is yes.
Yes, David
Yay.
and Rocky.
Yay.
Yay, great. Motion ratified. I do have party rules times cancellation policy on here. I did have someone who was trying to raise their hand, but couldn't get their hand raised, on there. No, on the Zoom call. Arvin, are you on still?
Arvin is on.
Arvin is on.
I'm on.
Okay,
I'm on.
are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
All right, Arvin, I'm gonna give you your 3 minutes because I know you said that you were trying to raise your hand, you weren't sure how to use it. And he wanted to talk about the administrative assistant position, so I know we're circling back, but I will give you the 3 minutes. Go ahead.
The administrative position obviously is important for everyone's purposes. I understand the burden that is imposed on property management. My question is, we're looking for property management assistance. What about property maintenance? This has been out there for several years. Who's going to clean? Who cleans the drains? Who picks up the trash? Who's cleaning out the beds of the walls? Who's picking up broken concrete, wires, plastic, newspapers? They were supposed to have been done. 2 property managers ago were telling me that it was all to be handled by a gentleman who's no longer here. He didn't handle it. they let it go. I now want to know if that is something that should be addressed, which I think it should be. We pride ourselves on being similar to other communities. I mean, I've lived here for 35 years. The last 5, 6 years, I've never seen the condition dilapidate as much as it has. I know Mark has mentioned the fact that we're short on money, but we have priorities, obviously. But I would think that the appearance of the community, as you've mentioned, Brittany, was a concern to you, is as important. And we're looking for someone in the property assistance for the office. But how about the community? How about the glass? How about the newspapers? All these things that take away from the value as well as the appearance.
Arvin, thank you so much for that. Yes, it's something we've discussed multiple meetings now, to hire a maintenance person to provide that service. We just approved, I don't know if you heard that, but we did approve a janitorial service to come in 40 hours a month, and they are going to be doing a lot of what you mentioned, and we can be a little more specific. No, the drains will be cleaned out by Etienne. That is part of his responsibility for the court maintenance. But you are spot on, and we do need a maintenance person. Tying back into Mark, I too would like to be fiscally responsible with our budget. It's just not budgeted for this year. It's something we would definitely like to budget in for next year, but in trying to prioritize needs versus, maybe wants right now, we are going to increase the janitorial service to 10 hours per week with the company we're using. We will definitely work to tie that in to next year's budget. And yeah, it's definitely on the list of things we need.
Well,
Arvin, it's Mark again, too.
Yeah.
One thing that I brought it up with Sports Services, not that I want to give them more work at this moment, but they are one of the companies, since they do surfaces. I asked them I met with Jem and Ro, and I went out and looked at the drains on the tennis courts. They're set too low. Those need to be completely revamped, raise the entire channel, get new covers. It's the original covers, as far as I know, since I've lived here for 25 years. I think it has to be rebuilt completely, and that's like a tennis repair budget item. Whether we have money to do that now, that's something, again, do an RFP, put it out there, find out what it would cost. But I think that's a daily maintenance. You just can't keep up with it no matter how good you are. So it needs to be revamped completely.
I also want to add to Arvin's point that I think there's a responsibility, whether it should be on Roe or someone at Campbell, that's just like not actually doing these things, but monitoring them, like doing a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly kind of scan that's almost like checklist based. It's like, check these windows, check these beds, check these drain, like what, not actually like snaking drains, Roe, don't worry, but just coming up with a list that you can then, I think a lot of these issues are managerial. Like we have Etienne, we will have janitorial services, we will have maintenance people that we can have on call. And a lot of this is just identification and maintenance.
With all due respect and understanding the janitorial issue, from what I heard as far as the litany of responsibilities, bathrooms, yes. Inside chairs, yes. None of this, unfortunately, pertain to exterior community property, number one. Number two, the issue of having people do this, I know they've asked Etienne to take care of it. I've heard from 2 other property managers that whoever it was inside the office was resistant to doing any of the work. And something that more than daily would be great. Certainly, I know from just the experiences I have walking and riding the community, there is so much trash that gathers outside the community that we need to make sure that if Rose is out there checking the condition of the community, that it's exterior as well as interior. And that's something that I know she's got too much on her plate. Whether or not the additional person will be doing that, I don't know. But I don't think it's an item that rises to the level of Mark's suggestion with respect to repaving courts. I'm thinking of something a little more mundane.
Yes, I
I agree.
100
Noted, yeah, for sure. No, you're not
Sure, yeah.
wrong. And that's definitely something that's on our radar, Arvin. Thank you for reiterating it. There's a few items on there that we haven't had a chance to circle back and revisit, but we do want to make sure we're doing that. We're still, believe it or not, we're still working through things with Campbell as we've made this transition, and that's not something we've forgotten. We just, we had to kind of check things off in order, but it's not forgotten. And I really appreciate you bringing it up so we can make sure it stays at the top of the list.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the only other thing was Brocky, you had mentioned that you did not get the opportunity to speak when we were talking about the assistant position. I believe, I'm sorry, Arvin, you mentioned maintenance. She had mentioned assistant position. So Brocky, are you still on? Did you want to say something?
Yes, I am still on. And I totally agree that we do need somebody. And I love the idea of somebody being there. If any residents have any questions, I think that is something that makes our community special, like Kristen said. So with Flo, easing back on her hours with some of that budget that we have given to her for her job, be part of this. And then if so, or if not, I think it's a good idea to consider and do the search, but how do you do a search to find somebody if you don't have a salary for that person? And I may be completely ignorant. I just don't understand the process.
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's why I think when we were looking at it, Rocky, you're right. That's why we said we were putting the cart before the horse. What we need to do is really establish a more solid checklist and work that into what their calendar, like what a day in the life, a week in the life, and then and then based on that we can figure out what that value is, and then we refer back to the finance committee.
Where she's concerned about not being able to find an assistant position without having like a set salary. Like, how do you go source that without being able to give them a number?
And you're already, the board is interviewing people, or you make a committee to interview people, and they say, hey, this sounds great, I can do that. What is the salary?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, there should be a
range,
like a pre-approved range. And I understand we've sort of discussed a lack of funds to support said position and range, but maybe think about, if you had the money, what would you pay? I mean, as we discussed going into budget building season, which is all of 3 weeks away in my mind, you're gonna need that information for next year as well. So even if you were able to get from here to there without hiring someone new, you still need to know what you're willing to pay for 2027. So that information is a key piece of posting the position, interviewing for the position, and whether you move forward or not. Right, in just a month, I'm gonna want that information and put it into the budget.
Okay, Mark, you and I will work on that. I'm waiting at Mark.
We have a number because obviously there is a full-time position for the assistant. We have dollars allocated. My thing is just the timing of where we need one person off as we try and bring somebody on.
Right.
How do you pick? Again, I don't see you doing a search, as Brocky just pointed out. You need to give salary range if somebody applies with a resume and says, I'm interested, and say, oh, well, we're not ready. Right. Or, hey, it's gonna be part-time, we're gonna need you 10 hours now, then 20, then 30.
Yeah, we'll sit down and meet. We do, unfortunately, the salary we have allocated is smaller than I think what most people are going to require nowadays, and we will have to factor in the Campbell portion of it. So but I definitely would we will sit down, and I will sit down with the finance committee. I am committed to doing that. The finance committee knows I'm committed to doing that, to assure that we build that into our budget. I met with Alexis today to try and work through some of these, growing pains that we're going to have. We are growing, our community is growing, our neighborhood's growing, our clubhouse, our amenities. I mean, it's amazing what we're able to provide for who we are. It's incredible. And so yes, I hear everyone. I'm putting it out there. This position is needed. We're going to need to figure this out. There is going to be a transition where we are going to lose flow, and we are not going to be able to replace, we're going to have this empty chair for a few months. And so I just want to make sure we can hopefully fill the chair for those few months. And even if it's part-time, and if we can't fill the chair, we're definitely on target to fill the chair in January. But that definitely is a discussion that needs to be had for 2027 and hopefully for the fall of 26. So thanks, Rocky. I appreciate that. Good point.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Last but not least, party rules times cancellation party. Okay, so I'm going to go through this really fast because I don't think it needs to be a very long conversation. Let's start with BBT Clubhouse reservation application. I am going to make a motion that we change the reservation application to include charity events need to be responsible for the cleaning fee. I'm also going to add for parties of 76 to 122 people, they are allowed to book 12 months in advance. And that you must cancel within 2 weeks of your party date. There's a 2-week, and we can discuss this.
Can I ask one point of clarification? Because you started with charity events and it sounds like you're still talking about charity events.
I'm not, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. Charity events have to add the cleaning fee.
Period.
Separate bullet point.
Good.
For parties of larger than 76 guests, they can book 12 months in advance. Next bullet point. There needs to be a cancellation period of 2 weeks. I mean, I think two weeks is fair. It should be maybe 3, but
We can call it a cutoff date.
we can discuss that. But there needs to be a 2-week cancellation. You lose your money after 2 weeks, 2-week cancellation period. And then we need to figure out the alcohol consumption. Okay, so if you are bringing in a
bartender,
a vendor, I would say a vendor that's any vendor serving alcohol needs to add Boca Bath and Tennis to their insurance and needs to present that certificate in advance to the event. And then
And that's for an event of any size, right?
yes, an event of any size bringing in their separate vendor. And then I will make the motion and we can discuss it because I think we're on different, some people are in favor, some people are not. But I also think we need to include a special events insurance if you are offering alcohol at your event on the reservation application of a party of any size.
Unless your vendor provides it.
Unless your vendor provides it, then you can go through your vendor. If your vendor doesn't provide it, you need to provide it. If you're distributing alcohol. I'm sorry, Will. I hope that makes sense.
Really?
I'm so sorry.
You want to read that?
I'm still ready.
Take your time. I love because my brain just is
just dump it all in.
It's a hot.
Do you have a name for it? Is it called your friend?
Yes.
Hey, Britt.
No, my chat
Britt, so fun.
really
So
nice.
fun.
Very sweet to me. Okay, did we get those bullet points?
Yes.
All right. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Okay, discussion. Does anyone have anything to say about that?
I agree.
Well, fantastic.
So I'll just touch real quick on insurance because Brittany and I have gone over this ad nauseum. She's checked with family members and things. The risk to us, and we talked about it in other board meetings, but the risk to the association, we've learned that we can be sued for anything. If, God forbid, and Rowan and I talked about this, God forbid that somebody's playing mahjong, has drinks, and they pull out on military trail and kill somebody, we will be sued. So when I talked to Corey Broadhurst, our insurance agent with Brown & Brown, we want to be the secondary insurance. We do not want to be the primary. We want their insurance to hire the attorney to go fight it, settle it. If we have to get involved, we'll be secondary to this primary insurance. We never want to be that primary.
The only contribution I have to that comment with all, I fully agree. Do we have a cutoff date of when the COI is due?
I think that should be a requirement.
I agree. Yeah, because I know typically, yeah, when you book any kind of an event, by the time you get by like,
Well, let's put it at the 2 week before at the cancellation period.
we should just do that at the same time. So
Yeah.
just,
So I'll amend the motion.
yeah,
To
sorry.
include the COI needs to be obtained before,
To the property manager would be the interested person not less than 2 weeks prior.
not less than 2 weeks prior to the event.
I'll amend my second.
Perfect. And then, and I will make it very, yes, I will make it very clear that, yes, it seems like a hurdle to jump through. I did speak to my brother-in-law who is in insurance, and he just pretty much said they're very easy to obtain. They can be obtained in an hour or two. I know Corey provided a website, I think.
I logged in and in 5 minutes, I had
Yeah.
$1 covered.
He was
$250.
He was gonna try to provide me with a website of a link where like residents can just go on and like it's a third party. Yeah. Yeah, you can go online and get it like you do Amazon pretty much.
It would be bad that we have a resource list and say, here's 3
Yeah.
vendors and here's how to look it up.
You can do that, like 3 websites that you can go to. Your own insurance agent can provide it. So it's very easy to obtain. And he kind of said like, well, if they're not willing to get it, then they don't serve alcohol type situation. Coming from someone who likes to drink, it's a pain in the butt for me, but I'm willing to do it because it not only protects the HOA, it also protects the person who is renting the facility. It protects you. So,
hence the reason I said somebody needs to be here to manage the events because they can say, oh, I won't serve it. And then they do anyway.
The question would be, nobody's going to be the competent as property manager.
Yeah.
Or residents. If it's in the contract,
Yeah.
well, I'm not even talking to it because your brother said that too.
Yeah. So essentially, like, it's not our responsibility to police it. It's their responsibility to agree to the contract that they signed and perform.
To point like how this would work legally is anyone can sue you for
David.
anything. It's just a question of negligence. They would argue, you've had failure to supervise and stuff. It would be a very weak argument. But I also want to add that we should modify the contract to have, and I may have put this in there originally, I have to double check, but not only indemnification, but require the indemnity or the indemnifying party, which is the resident, to not only get this one of those 2 insurance options, but also to advance the costs of defense so that if the neighborhood gets pulled into a lawsuit that's frivolous, we're not secondary, like Mark said, we're actually tertiary because the resident has to advance the cost of defense, their insurer has to cover, and then our insurer has premises liability coverage. And so the HOA, to get those 3 layers through, unless we did something egregious, it would be very, very difficult.
Okay.
Perfect.
Is that gonna be part of that? No.
Yeah.
Will you please just shoot me a quick email on that, David? I did not.
Yeah, if you could just send me the latest version of it, I can add that language in.
Okay.
So I'll amend my motion, amend it again to include David's language verbiage to the contract to add whatever that.
Required advancing the cost of defense to the
Requiring
indemnification
advancing.
provision.
I'm gonna send it to you right now.
Perfect.
I sent it.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Okay, great. So I think we're all on board. George.
So the current rule is 4 months, so we're gonna allow
So
parties
it'd still be 4 months.
75.
Yes. If you have a large party of 76 or more, then you can book up to 12 months. So
Are we getting any pushback from people doing any kind of reservations that they want to reserve 6 months out, 8 months out?
we've had
As we had the board when they set up this rule, I remember we were like, well, let's just feel it out and see if
there hasn't been a ton of
is it
pushback.
issue or not.
We've had 1 or 2 people say something. It's been, like I said, on larger parties.
Right.
People want to do a bar mitzvah in advance, and so
Which
they
makes sense. You have to lock your vendors in for an event that big, so it does make perfect sense when it's that size.
Yes.
And there are bar mitzvah dates like 3 years.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's
100%.
Yeah, so it's like a whole big thing when
Yeah.
they're like releasing the dates. I have friends who just got this date.
Yeah.
Their daughter's 10, by the way. And they've honored it for 3 years from now, 2029.
No, that's valid. That's very valid.
We need a system to set a reminder once a booking happens, like when the 2-week date before the event is, because no one's going to manually track that.
And we also, we're gonna get the signs for each entrance
Yeah.
to say private.
Yeah, I'm gonna
party.
sit down with,
Signs are a whole separate.
oh, Kristen Stevenson's taking care of the signs. I think, Kristen, did you order those already by chance?
No, I was gonna get them, but I wanted to wait until after our meeting tonight because if anything changed, I didn't want to have to do them
No,
again.
no, not those signs.
No, this is
The
the sign.
sign that's a private party at the front.
At each.
Yes,
Yes.
to answer your
So
question, yes, I ordered them.
So somebody comes to the gym and.
They were
and
back-
See something going, it says private party.
Gotcha.
They were back ordered, so I think they're due to arrive the last week in
Okay.
Yeah.
June.
Perfect.
So
Thank you.
not
Those are
back ordered
ordered.
too long.
Thanks,
And then
Candace.
Kristen Adams is going to get us signs for the front and back
Oh,
based on what we've just agreed, what we're about to agree to, and
Post the rules.
exactly, to post the rules so that they are actually posted. Okay, did I go through everyone? I'm sorry, George, yes.
Yes.
Mark, Brittany, yes. Kristen Adams, Kristen Stevenson.
Yes,
Okay, David,
Yes.
Rocky.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, great. So that is approved. Then the last one is going to be the rules and regulations of the clubhouse. We're going to do just a few changes to those. We've had some issues with, I really wish I didn't have to do this because I think it's ridiculous. We all should be adults and should be able to speak to people respectfully, especially the staff members. So I'm going to go on record at the board meeting saying it's embarrassing that this has to be stated out loud and in rules, but it does, clearly, it's a problem. So we are going to, I'm gonna put a motion in place to amend the rules and regulations of the clubhouse, that residents will be asked to leave the premises if they are disrespectful to staff members or other residents, verbally or physically, because it's becoming a problem verbally. Multiple requests to leave will result in key fob disconnection for 30 days. This is another bullet point. And then we just recently, it is stated in here. It's not specifically stated this way, but it is stated in here, and I think we could just clarify or expand upon it. No, there is a clause that says no children under the age of 14 is allowed in the clubhouse by themselves, but no visitors or no guest children of any age will be allowed unattended in the clubhouse or around the premises.
Yes.
I think that's pretty much it. No visitors, children, no guest children are allowed in the clubhouse or around the premises unattended.
Say non-resident. We
Non-resident.
could be specific to that. The issue with that was we recently had a situation where there were kids that were.
Because
Yes.
what?
Without an adult?
I think you have to qualify as being an adult.
So no visitors, no non-resident,
Without adult supervision.
Without adult supervision.
no non-resident children are allowed to be, I'm sorry?
Under 14.
Under 14.
Yes.
Under 14 are allowed to be in, well, I mean.
Well, I
Kinda
would just
goes-
say under 18, no
that's what I was
non-resident
thinking,
children
yeah.
at all.
I'd say no children at all because it goes in context with under 14 for our kids, but I think it should be under 18 for non-residents. Yeah, without adult supervision. Should be unattended without adult supervision. Okay.
The only thing I wanted to just throw in before we put this together and seal it up is where we say multiple.
Yeah, you want like a number?
I think we should be more specific because what is multiple? Some people that's 2, some people that's 12.
Two.
So I think we say.
I'm sorry, which part?
I think we should be specific to state you get a singular warning.
Yeah.
After your warning, your privileges are then suspended.
I would say that.
or whatever.
So instead we'll say multiple requests, that will say first request to leave
First one. Right.
is a warning.
Oh.
Second
Anything beyond that first
request
right.
is keep
Just to
up
clarify, we're not
suspension.
like physically posting these anywhere, right?
These are available in the resident documents on the website.
Nobody's
Yeah,
asking
I
about
just mean we're not like,
hang it on the wall or.
No,
good.
Wait, I thought we were posting them.
all of
Well,
these.
I don't want to post things that say like no physical aggression. That makes us, it's
Right.
like putting up like a don't rob us sign.
Right, no,
You don't have to put it on the physical aggression.
No, this is on the website, but the basic common sense rules are what will be posted, like the hours of operation and.
Yeah, I just don't want to make us
No,
look like an
no
inhospitable
smoking, no
place.
vaping, like that kind
Yeah,
of
I
stuff.
think we can just put something along the lines of like, be respectful. Like I mean, David, you can speak to this. I just want to be able to set like a guideline.
Like we don't have to be
of-
able to point to a sign on the wall to say, hey, you can't say F you to Flo and still expect to stay in the clubhouse. So it's like, I get that it's like feels helpful, but I don't think we really need it. We should just post it.
Can we do something very generic? Just say that while you're the premises, everybody has an understanding, everybody will be treated with respect. So it's not negative.
Yeah. That's what we could post. I just kind of want to put something like in the underlining rules and regulations that Ro can point to and say.
Yeah, I think like
you
what
know,
Kristen said, like post them online and our
yeah, we'll post
documents.
them online and then we'll do a very generic post on the doors. Kristen and I will sit down and do that. So
I got it.
I just want Ro to be able to like point to something and say, you have to leave.
Right.
Okay.
I look forward to sending that actually.
And it has to be, unfortunately, it has to be mailed.
Okay.
Because you're changing the rules, you don't have to actually mail out the updated. You need to legally notify everyone that they're available on the portal.
Okay, I think that is, unfortunately, this is a recurring problem. So
Can
before
that be
we,
included in the president's message or it has to be a separate message?
Well, it has to be like snail mail.
Oh,
Yeah,
I understand.
snail mail.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Okay.
how you, like, notice them and they can't say, I didn't know.
right,
Right, so like if someone was signed up, if you guys had online everything here, someone, we did for electronic communication, you will email those homeowner, but you guys don't have that yet, there's, I think it's been spoken.
Right.
Not there yet, so it has to go in the mail.
Okay.
Don't have to mail out the entire package, so we'll copy.
Just the notification.
Just send a notice that says there's been an update to X, Y, Z, and the new documents and new expectations to be found on the portal, so you're not governing documents or whatever it is.
Perfect. Okay, thanks, Alexis. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
While we're on this topic, do we also want to add that residents need to leave if a party's being, do we need to add that as well to the rules? Like residents need to give the main space.
So maybe we should just present the unfortunate situation that occurred and then we can collectively come up
I
with.
would say something to the effect of clubhouse rentals take priority over clubhouse use.
Yeah.
And allow setup time prior to their event, something like that.
Okay.
That's
Clubhouse
we are
rentals.
including the setup and.
In the time.
Time
Right.
and the time, so
Yeah.
Did I read correctly? It's
Covered that.
4 hours is our time limit? Why? I read something, there's 74-hour time limit for parties or renting the clubhouse.
No.
That's 4.
No, there is actually something in there about that, but it's.
I
Right.
missed my 9 o'clock deadline by 35 minutes.
If there is somewhere, there's a 4-hour time limit, like why?
Okay. I don't think we have a time limit. I think you can rent for the whole day.
No, I do think he's right.
I saw that somewhere.
I'm scanning it really quick.
There should be some time limit. You shouldn't be able to rent for all day and all night at the same
Right.
price you could rent for half the day.
I could see like
Yeah.
setup being 30 minutes to an hour before, clean up 30 minutes after.
Oh, you need more than 30 minutes to set up for a party.
That's what I'm saying, like an
Oh.
hour before, 30 minutes cleanup.
Right.
Yeah, we also have to
But
be
it's more
careful
than
because
talking
like
about-
sometimes we've had weddings in here and bar mitzvahs, so that's gonna take like a lot more time to set up, so I don't wanna like limit people.
There's one occasion where we had 2 events the same day.
Yeah, maybe based on the size of the party, they get a larger setup time if the party's larger. We've had huge parties, we've had quinceañeras, we've had huge baby showers.
School
Like,
graduation.
the rental fee based on like the time, right? So like, it's like 0 to 4 hours is X, and then if you rent it for, you know, each additional hour, there could be an additional fee. So that people can really assess with their party planners, like how much time do you need to set up, how much time do you need to break down? And then they'll know like, this is what I need, and then you can add on, you won't run into a situation where you have 2 events the same night and they really both need more than 4 hours.
What if the rental, the time that they're rented for, shouldn't it include their setup and breakdown times?
It
It's supposed to be
It doesn't.
I know, but.
But that's not a bad idea, we could just change.
If you're locking it out, let's say it's a bar mitzvah or a wedding, okay, and they need 6 hours to set up, I get it, it's cool. But you can't lock up the clubhouse for 6 hours if you're renting for 4.
But I think to your point, Alexis, I think if we went and changed this matrix.
I agree.
And added a column for hours and then.
Additional
up
hours
around
would be at X rate, yeah.
Should we make revisions then to the whole document before we?
What do we, well, we can do this now, and we can make one more.
Yeah.
This isn't just about, so we can come back.
No, there's two things, there's this, but the other, the issue is,
We do.
for example, when there was a situation that occurred recently, and I foresee it becoming a problem again, where there was a community gathering of a few people who were engaged in an activity approved here. I'm trying not to be specific, but be specific. And their time frame butted right up against an event that was trying to come in and set up with a resident that had booked the clubhouse. And the people that were trying to come in to set up very nicely let those folks know, hey, we're coming in to set up, and it didn't go well. It wasn't well received, and they were belligerent about the fact that they were not able to be there. So now, that's why we're like, okay, it's,
Where does the resident see, can they go online, is
The
it,
amenity calendar, you can.
okay,
see.
so we did, because we talked about it, we didn't check
We
it,
have
but
that.
Yeah.
can we have Alex put it on the TV? so-
Yeah, we're
I
working
can
on,
do that, yeah.
we're also working on getting a skylight calendar, which we can plug in, which is simply, it's a calendar, and we just update it at, like, they just row or.
I have a skylight, it's amazing.
Yeah, and you can change colors for different events, for book club can be on there.
TV or. smart
It's
screen?
actually like a smart screen.
It looks like a TV, but it functions like a calendar. So
Yeah, it keeps track of everything's schedules.
you can pull it, so
Yes.
whatever we're keeping, it could be a Google Calendar or whatever, Outlook
That's
calendar,
what we
it'll
need,
feed
is
it.
That way people can't say, it's not Flo's job or your job to run out
Yeah.
here and say, by the way, time you gotta leave, because.
You hang it, like we'll hang it somewhere in the front, and then it plugs in, just like any other TV would plug in. And you just there's an app, you just go on and they can update it. And that, I agree, it needs to be in the clubhouse, so that way when people walk in and they go to start playing a card game or whatever they're gonna play, they could say like, oh my gosh, there's a party coming in an hour, we're not gonna have enough time to finish our game. And then that way Ro can also reference that and say, guys, you knew there was a party coming in an hour, you shouldn't have started your game. Also, residents are able to use, obviously the gym is open, you're not gonna go set up a card game in there, but the game room is open during events, so it's not like the whole clubhouse is shut down, just the main area and the kitchen area are reserved for those party times. So, when it is reserved, residents are asked to leave the main area. You can still go into the game room if you'd like to still use that. So I do think maybe we should add that to the rules and regulations. It just seems like it kind of should be common sense, but it's.
Well, I think we just need to set the tone that it's a courtesy that you're using the clubhouse for, a card game or mahjong or whatever it is. But if somebody is paying to rent the space, you have to be mindful.
Rentals take priority.
Right.
Period.
However we want to work.
Rentals take priority in the use of the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Do I need to include that in the motion?
We have to make a motion for that,
Add it to the motion.
or is it something that if we're
We
making?
always tell people that.
Yeah,
I've got
someone's
But-
incident, they have.
We
court-
do.
But we can make it part of the
Yeah.
formal rules. I
Yeah.
don't know they need to put that in the motion.
All right, yeah, we'll just make it part of the formal rules to.
And we're sending the notice out to let them know that it's changed, so that covers that, so we're fine then.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hang on, wait, don't we have to like say yes to these changes?
You already voted. You already called the vote.
Yeah.
Perfect, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Understand?
No, I don't. I just want to make sure I've got all my
Touched everything.
T's and P's and I'm over my.
Which will
Vote on the motion.
be modified as.
Adjourn.
Yeah.
Oh, motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks
Aye.
everybody.
Bye to everybody online. Goodbye, goodbye.
So let me understand.